in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right, baby let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
Out there, so the people out here having a good time, we're chilling on the beach. So that's first and foremost. I want to thank you, man, for accepting my invitation to come out here and see what it's all about.
It's been an honor to give an anecdotal perspective.
But because you had a lot of commentary coming out and individuals speaking about, especially Brazil,
right?
But never been here,
right?
Or only stayed in one little section, and
right?
Give commentary on that and not spreading out,
right?
So you came by here and you see how we move around, we move about,
right?
And it's a little bit different than what you...
Well, it's very different. The brother that said that the women in Brazil are trash, no disrespect to the brother, but he must only saw a small subsection. From what I've seen, are some of the Brazilians going out, but that's a small fraction. The majority of the women that I've seen are Copacabana or even Barra da Tijuca are actually gorgeous, fit. The women are very feminine, they're very kind. And I'm telling you guys, travel is very important in becoming an optimized male, not only travel, but world health. And so there are a lot of toxic and caustic relationships back in the States, which in my opinion, encouraged Brother Al Greaves to write Frustrated One. What was Frustrated One about? What was so paramount about Frustrated One, Al Greaves? So I want you to tell the audience what you saw from Frustrated One.
Frustrated One, what it did was give brothers another option to release their frustration.
Right.
So being frustrated and not having an outlet for that frustration can create other kind of problems.
Yes.
So when he gave individuals knew that there was an outlet, and good brother Charles Tyler that passed away, man, creating the group, and eliminating brothers' fears of traveling alone, and that we could do it as a group, and as a positive young man. Young black men, especially young black men coming out. So you see the movement that we got, especially young black men coming out, and we're all having a good time out here. Upscale, responsible, good men.
Good men, no doubt.
Good men. So they're taking in all the culture and stuff like that. So that's what Frustrated One did. It gave brothers an outlet.
It gave them an outlet, right.
But it also did it created. Conversation, the dialogue started coming.
Right.
And then from the dialogue, and then from the outlet, and then you were able to talk about it, able to get some stuff off your chest, and find men who understood where you were coming from. Because like Becky said, back in the States, we taught to suffer in silence.
The suffer in silence, which is very unhealthy from a mental health perspective.
Right. So when you find out that when most men find
something ominous is going on in America, where we're living in very transient times when men are actually faltering or running away from relationships. Teddy Pendergrass was a swooner, a very velvet voice back in the 70s. And Teddy made a song entitled, It's So Good to Love Somebody and Somebody to Love You Back. And in that song and in his crooning, he was actually talking about a 50-50 love where women and men get some equal in return. But we live in a very turbulent time in America where women often do the dictating in relationships, and they tell the man what they want. He has to be 6 feet tall. He has to have money. He can't be broke. He can't be dusty. His phallus must be a certain length. And he got to be able to take care of her and her kids. But when men actually say they want something of substance too, like she has to be fit, she has to be feminine, she has to be cooperative, she has to submit to his program, she can't have kids by too many men, and the dangerous one, she can't have had too much fun, then all of a sudden he's bashing. Listen, many men are diverting from relationships. And when I went to Brazil, I saw something different where a lot of men are going outside the confines of the United States to find love, peace, and happiness because they feel like they're not getting it here in America. We're going to have a conversation on Friday night where we're going to have my man El Guapo from his YouTube channel called Beautiful Lives. Then we're going to have the esteemed guest brother Blair Nash. Blair Nash has written several books, and he's going to talk about what he see in dating, what he see in modern relationships, and what course is going to happen if we continue on this negative trajectory. And then I plan to have brothers for the BMO group. We're going to have men. They're going to have a collaboration about a lot of different things, where men are going to talk about their joys, their pain, but also they're going to give anecdotal evidence from what they observed when they were in Brazil. Brazil was a very life-changing trip because it gave me some notes to take to bring back to the States. So we're going to talk about what men want and why men have standards. And we're going to talk about all the detractors that try to shame men into accepting subpar women or women that don't meet their expectations. I want guys to remember this as they're looking at this show on Friday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, is that men are the gatekeepers to relationships. And you have to demand what you want from a woman, because if you don't demand it, she's going to demand it from you. Remember this, men are the gatekeepers. And when a man sets standards for himself and his woman, it brings peace and balance in communities. But unfortunately, many men are subjects to pain and they're subjects to shame. But we're going to have a comprehensive conversation on Friday as we have a group of men, and we're going to come together and we're going to compare notes, and we're going to look at how men are actually suffering in silence and how men are actually demanding what they want from relationships, and how men are more or less telling women either you meet my standards or my criteria, or we're totally divested. So I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this show as I bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel state, where every day is Father's Day. And whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, and we won't agree, but we come together as allies of a common cause only to dissipate when the crisis is over. So sit back and relax and enjoy this show once again. And remember this, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. Remember this, men have standards. Enjoy this show as we bring it to you live Friday night, Eastern Standard Time. Be well. All right. Brethren. We got my man El Guapo from Beautiful Lives, salutations. And we got my man, esteemed author Blair Nash. And so listen, guys, we're going to have a comprehensive show tonight because we're going to more or less examine, can a man find his peace, which is his real, but also can a man find peace within the confines of the United States? So before we start, Blair Nash, I want you to introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are. And I want you to tell the audience about the challenges that you currently see within the modern milieu as it relates to relationships. So tell the audience who you are, Blair. Let's talk about your 3 books. And then we're going to bring my man El Guapo from Beautiful Lives on, and we're going to talk about the current malaise that we see in America.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. You know, there's very few people's podcasts I'm going to go on as it is. And once you say, you know, you want to have me on, and you know I'm there. What I am today is I am a babysitter. And so I got kids out in the other room and everything, and wifey's in there, and they're watching some movie. What's it called? The Mitchells versus the Machines, I think. So I had to go into our kind of guest bedroom and everything, and close myself off so I wouldn't be hearing the screams and everything else and everything. So that's what I'm doing. But to answer your other question, Blair Nash, I'm an author. I am a dating coach and I'm a matchmaker. I've been doing this for about almost 8 years now. Wow. Coming up on 8 years. Have 3 books out. First book came out in 2015, Illuminating the Battlefield. My second book dropped in 2016, and it was called Love is a Beautiful Thing Till It Ain't. And then my most recent book came out in 2018, and it was titled The Hidden Discussion, Black Money, Sex, and Relationships. My 4th book is supposed to be dropping in the summer. It was supposed to drop earlier in 2020, but you know, we all know how 2020 went. So it is called Throwing the Rose-Colored Glasses Out the Window. And essentially what it is a, thank you, man, appreciate it. Essentially what it is that we have, and you and I've had some discussions about this. Right. We kind of have this, for lack of a better term, this bickering that's going on. I mean, you can go anybody's group on social media, anywhere, and you see this back and forth dialogue that's going on between Black men and Black women. And what's happened is for a lot of men, there used to be kind of a way that they held our women in esteem. And I think they still do to an extent, but I think as my book says, the rose-colored glasses have been lifted. And so I think what's happening with a lot of Black men is they are seeing things for, in real time, and seeing what's going on and kind of, trying to make sense of it. So that's that. So I don't want to take up any more time. We got other great guests here, so y'all can have at it.
Well, definitely a lot of men are going through what I call an existentialist crisis, especially as men get older. And so, guys, the ones that are listening, please get the
you can't be using these big words, man. What are you doing to existential crisis, man?
Hey, man, I'm a coach.
I'm up here on Google on the side like existential crisis.
So a lot of men are going through what I call an existentialist crisis. They're asking themselves, what is my purpose and what is my meaning for living? And so some men are actually looking for their peace, which is their real. But also men are trying to look for peace within the confines of America. And so, El Guapo, I want you to tell the audience who you are and go check out this brother on his YouTube channel called Beautiful Lies. Tell the audience who you are and when did you have your existentialist crisis as it relates to dating and relationships within the confines of America?
For sure. What is good, team? El Guapo here. Salute and salutations. Good to see you brothers tonight. Everybody's looking dapper and good and healthy and good spirits. So I'm a regular guy, but a little bit of a Renaissance man. I'm an Air Force veteran. Had the privilege to be on the enlisted and the commission side of the Air Force. Had a good Air Force career. Came out, got into engineering and telecommunications, stuff like that. And I've been a traditional business owner and into wealth building and mentorship for a while. I got a square gig right now, but not for much longer. I'll be retiring soon. So as far as the existential awakening, is that what you called it, Casey?
Well, we call it a crisis, but you can call it an awakening too.
It was an awakening, man. I wasn't in crisis.
Right.
But I'll tell you this. I'm what they would call, I was RP'd while married. Okay. So I've been married twice. I'm currently engaged to my Colombian fiance who's upstairs, La Bella, Yes. She's watching, I'm sure. And yeah, man, it was rough. I was going through some trying times, and like most of us men, searching for some answers. I was inside the confines of the marriage. I didn't find it fast enough to do what needed to be done to turn that ship around. But I am an autodidact student of life. So I love to learn on my own and stuff like that. And ever since, I feel like, I don't want to close my eyes forever without this knowledge and this perspective being given back to the world. I don't want to die with any information still within me, that I never gave out. So hence the Beautiful Lies channel. We have so many things, especially us as a community, as Black people, that we have really been indoctrinated into. All right. We all know that this is systemic, what has been going on with us in this country. And these lies sound so good. Dr. Dre calls it soul food for your ears. It tastes good, but it's not necessarily good for you. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm trying to expose these beautiful lies and give that cold, bitter pill of truth, especially to the women out here. We have such a strong presence as men with our Black manosphere, but our women are being so deceived. Yes. And I'll tell you what, we can't change everybody. I ain't Jesus, but here's what I know. Just like they talk about a tipping point is only 10%, I'm trying to put my 2% in. So that's all.
All right. No doubt.
Can I say a couple things real quick?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
First of all, everybody tells me you got a great radio voice, man. Number one.
Right.
Two, I want to just say to you, greatly appreciate your service.
Thank you, man.
Love it.
And hey, real fast, and this is no false edification, bro. You had 2 slick book titles in there. What was the first one? Say it again.
Illuminating the battlefield.
So the War College guy in me loves that name.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And the rose-colored glasses, man, I've been fighting that for 20 years. I think I finally got them off, man, out the window.
Yeah. And on my I wish I had it here with me, but on my front cover, I actually have a picture of a grenade. So and it's a part inside the grenade. So yeah, that was the whole intention.
I'm gonna be picking them all up, man. I'll be getting all 3 of your books.
All right, thank you, brother.
Now listen, guys. There's a crisis in America. You know, I'm gonna call Brother El Guapo where velvet meets the road. They told me I have a radio voice too, you know, but I got a little bit more bass and baritone than mine. But you know, I call it when velvet meets the road. But there's a crisis in America where at least 51% of men, based on some statistics, are not married or getting married or have been married. And a lot of men feel like they can't find their peace, which is their rib, which is their life partner, but also they can't find peace. Joining us is what I call the Aaron of the Black Male Options Group, Brother Eric Spencer. Eric Spencer, tell the group who you are and tell them how long you've been with BMO and why you haven't found your peace as you're trying to find peace within the confines of the United States.
Okay, so first of all, El Guapo, quick shout out to you, Air Force vet myself.
Right.
10 years. Actually, my first deployment was to Howard Air Force Base in 1991. So I've been exposed to overseas travel at a very young age. Currently, I'm a DoD employee. Started traveling with Black Man's Option when Charles was still alive. Actually was there when he passed in 2017. Very heartbreaking, you know, so the group had gone through some transition with his passing. And just recently we were able to regain leadership of the group and move forward. And I am one of the members of the admin team that are pushing and continuing Charles's legacy and his name through the group, The Black Man's Option, which is a Facebook group that he started and a phrase that he coined. Charles always would say, hey, Black men, you have options outside the United States, not just for women, but for a better life. And he always wanted brothers to come together, break bread, chop it up. And what we've done is we've continued that legacy. Myself, 12 other members, you got Coach Al Grease. We like to use football terminology, but yeah, Coach Grease. And it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's something that most men don't understand until they go on a trip. And I equate it to you going through basic training. When you show up, you're there with multiple people from multiple backgrounds that you don't know. And at the end of those 6 weeks, because in the Air Force, it was 6 weeks. At the end of those 6 weeks, you're bonded with those guys. And some of those guys you go to tech school and you're still friends with. So we offer that. And Coastal Coalition, he was able to experience it first time in real life. And now he sees what we're trying to push.
Right.
Brotherhood, something that has been very lacking in the States. And that you can be happy with a woman not from the United States.
No doubt, no doubt. Respect. And the reason why I did that, I'm Brother Spencer and the guys that are listening, because a lot of times men suffer in silence. You heard Al say it in the prologue. A lot of men suffer in silence. So as a clinical therapist, a licensed clinical therapist, I'm a licensed professional. A lot of times we don't address the psychopathologies a lot of men have, a lot of things that men have. So I've taken upon myself to allow men to have a dialogue and to share their story, to share their pain, and for men to listen what are the emotional responses that they are having, because we're doing something now that's been unprecedented where we have what's called a group catharsis, where men are coming together sharing their pain. So, you know, I'm taking a risk doing this because I am a licensed professional. And so to the guys that are listening, please like, share, and subscribe as we look to move this channel to 1,000 subscribers. But in lieu of that, you know, I'm doing this because I love the brotherhood. And I know what it feels like to suffer in silence because I've done it myself. And so I've always said to the guys that are listening, to the audience, that a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is a dangerous man. And when a man is hopeless and broken, he's more prone to domestic issues and domestic violence. So to the guys that are listening, I want you to finish. I got a couple of guys on panel. And so the topic of the discussion tonight is, why can a man find his peace, which is his life mate, but also why can a man find peace in America? So I want you to talk about, El Guapo, your first 2 marriages. And then I want you to talk about the joys that you've experienced within the beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So first marriage, We have 2 daughters together. I met her while I was in college at the Air Force Academy out in Colorado. Good woman. She's a good woman. In fact, we co-parent very well together. Our oldest daughter just graduated into middle school yesterday, and we were there together as a Band-Aid family. You know what I mean? So, and everything went well. We went to dinner afterwards and stuff like that. And I think I discussed this a little bit when I was on the lead attorney's channel.
Right.
You know, it was not contentious in the end. You know, we picked well when we picked each other. There's not really a major reason why we got divorced. A little bit of money issues, but we were young in our 20s buying $70,000 cars. We didn't know any better. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that was the first marriage. My second marriage, I had moved to Georgia. I was deep into engineering and stuff like that, money to burn and everything. And I met a really great Georgia peach, awesome family, stuff like that. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And I would say that marriage was short. It was 2.5 years. And she just had a little bit of a princess complex. You know, it's hard to have a queen with a princess complex, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and she wasn't battle tested like I needed her to be. I had started venturing off into entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And when the going got tough, she got going, you know, because when you own a business, you know, you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, but you got to stay the course if you want to make it work. So, yeah, that would be the first 2 marriages. Now, let's get on to the fun stuff. Rio de Janeiro. I am a 15-year veteran of going to Rio de Janeiro. Okay. First time I went was, I want to say May of 2006. And beautiful city. And let's put the women aside for just a second. Now, KC, was this your first trip down there? Had you been there before?
You talking to me? Oh,
yes,
yes, sir. My first time. Yes, sir. First time outside the confines of the United States. It was a culture shock in a good way, and, you know, in a good way. But it was very life-changing, man. You know, and Eric said it poetically. It definitely was a brotherhood moment that I never forget in my life. So, it's almost like I had a glimpse of heaven, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll tell you is that what it was for me on my first trip, it was a complete recalibration of my mindset when it came to interacting with women. And the reason I say that is because you have women that aren't fighting their femininity down there. The things that technically make them valuable. Right. Their beauty, their fitness, their chasteness, maybe not their chasteness, their fertility. You know what I'm saying? Right. Operating in their feminine energy. Right. And they run the complete gamut of colors, of hair textures, of education levels, all that stuff, sizes, shapes, and everything else. And they really do value men that treat them well. Okay. So they value that masculine energy, which is something that's very lacking here in this country. Yes, you can find it. You can find it, but it is a rarity to actually come across it. Right. So, and down there, it's in abundance. So when I say recalibration is upon my return from my first trip, I was like, man, you know, I don't care how bad the chick is or what have you. I just was messing with 3 bad chicks that looked better than you, that are in better shape than you about a week ago. So it makes you it galvanizes your spirit. You're really strong in your frame when you come back. And I try not to cuss, but you don't take no shit off these chicks up here. You know what I mean? Right, I hope that's okay. I said a cuss.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, it was a heck of an experience. I instantly fell in love with the country and the culture. I love the food down there, you know. Yeah, I've been going back, and after a while, I was spending money to go down. I had to figure out a way to make money to go down. So I do some business down there and everything now. And yeah, it's nice.
Right. So there's a panel of brothers on this show that are actually listening. And so, you know, we can do it in whatever order, reverse order. Why haven't some of the guys that are listening found their peace, which is their rib? But also, why haven't they found peace? So whoever want to speak up and share with the audience, how many of you guys on the panel are actually single and haven't found your wife in America? And tell me why do you think why haven't you found your wife in the confines of America?
May I jump in on that, Doc?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And coming in, I'm like most of you. I spent 24 years in the United States Army, 3 combat tours as a combat armed soldier. Like you, Doc, I am now a licensed clinical professional counselor. I've been licensed for the last 9 years now.
Yes, sir. Salute.
Like my brother, I've been married 3 times to 3 black women.
Right.
Right. I've traveled up. This was my first trip to Brazil, but definitely not my first trip. I've worn the DR out. I've worn Cartagena, Colombia out. Mombasa, Kenya, and these are all just in my travels. But I will say, I think for me, it's because I have a tattoo across my stomach, and I'll be honest, and it says to live and die for the black woman. I guess you not. And so for me, I think my problem was my mind just was not open. I saw other races of chicks as just something to play with. Right. That I could never take them seriously, nor they take me seriously, because we don't have the same shared experiences. So I think for me, my problem was my mind wasn't open. Having lived overseas in the places I was stationed for years at a time, I didn't have an open mind. I never saw them as, that they would value me. Maybe I saw them as they looking for the ticket to the big BX or PX in the sky across the sea. For you brothers that's been in the military, or the big Walmart across the sea. And I think that was my mindset till I finally started to really sit back. Now I haven't met a woman overseas yet that I've developed that interest in. So I think for me, just to be short, my problem is I didn't open my mindset to believing that those outside of us could take us seriously until within the last 2 years or so. So that was the reason why I've been single for so long, and because I didn't open my mindset, and my mind is wide open now.
That's good, man. That's real good that it's open. Here, and I'm going to chime in real fast, just because I'm recently engaged. Okay, at a point in my life that I really was not looking to get married again. I do prefer it. Man, ain't nothing out here in these streets, man, but a bunch of headache, heartache, and diminishing returns with mediocre vagina. My humble opinion. Okay, so I'm just being honest, man. Once you've been to the mountaintop and you've gone to Brazil for 15 years, it's hard to follow that up. But I happened upon Labea, and she is a true feminine amplifier. She amplifies my life in I would say 80% of the areas that I operate. So be encouraged. Definitely be encouraged, because there are women out here that can elevate you to areas more expeditiously than you could get by yourself. Once again, it's a rarity, but you're going to find it more in, I don't think it's a color thing. I do think it's a cultural thing. I don't think we have a color problem in this country or within our race. I think we have a cultural problem. Does that make sense?
Right. I can see that. I can see that context. I think when you look at the cultures in foreign lands like Brazil, I think the men are more masculine. They're not backed by what's called caustic feminism. We have a couple of guys on the panel. Eric, I want to ask you a question. I call you Brother Aaron. Why is Eric Spencer not married? Why haven't Eric Spencer found his peace, which is also his peace? Why haven't Eric Spencer found his wife?
Short answer, condoms are cheaper than child support. That's the short answer. Like I said, I went into the military at a young age, and when I got to my duty station, all the guys were older than me, and they had either been divorced and remarried, and they used to tell me, "Don't get married, don't get married." Now for me, personally, my parents were together for 51 years. My father just passed away this past December, and they were married 51 years. So I grew up in a household seeing two people work together through thick and thin to raise children, to have a family and make it. So my social programming was looking for a wife.
Traditional, right?
At a young age. And looking back on it now, a lot of the women didn't want to be wives. And also, they thought they could control me because I had this boyish face. I'm handsome and stuff, but they think, okay, because you kind and you are accommodating, then I can run over you.
Mm-hmm.
But when stuff comes up and I push back and they realize I can't control this guy, they would move away.
Right.
For a long time, I thought something that I wasn't doing, that I wasn't better, I wasn't good enough, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I mean, work out, no kids, this, that, all the stuff you're supposed to have. And I'm like, so what's the problem? And then I figured out after going on these trips to Brazil, it's like, yo, I'm not the problem. Because for me, I can go to Brazil at 48 years old.
Yes, sir.
And have women come up to me half my age.
Right.
All day long.
Mm-hmm.
And let me echo something that Horn said. He said he wanted to be with Black women.
Right.
I do too. But at the same time, I learned my history.
Mm-hmm.
When we define Black women, we're talking about women of color. And believe it or not, Brazilians share a lot of the similarities between us. Matter of fact, they are the largest country with the most amount of African descendants, more than us. And when you go to the African American Museum in DC, it shows you they deposited almost 6 million Africans into Brazil.
Right.
And when you go within the culture, when you step outside of Rio, because Rio is just a speck, and I tell guys this, Rio is a speck. I've been to Belo Horizonte, I've been to São Paulo, I've been to Salvador Bahia, and Salvador Bahia is their version of Charleston,
right?
Where they used to bring the slaves in,
right?
And they have embraced more of their culture. They've kept it more intact than we have.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about Black, there's no difference between us and them, except for they speak Portuguese and we speak English. So with that being said, me going more and more and more and more is like, whatever color you want, whatever flavor you want, whatever size you want, they have it. And the thing about us is we have been conditioned to accept less here. And when you go there and you see how warm and receptive you get from the people, not just the women, the people, then you realize that you've been done a disservice in the States and you can't come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And when they argue about, oh, well, they're not Black, sweetheart, they're just as Black as you are.
Mm-hmm.
I show them pictures of some, I said, from light bright to charcoal. I said, they have the same ancestry we have. The only difference is they speak a different language. And the thing about that is they're so accommodating. So for me, it's hard to come back here and date, even to have a conversation, because I know what I got to deal with. It. Juice ain't just ain't worth the squeeze.
Right.
3 or 4 dates, man, I can be in Brazil.
Right.
All day long. And to be back around feminine women that want you to come up to them and say, hey, I like you. I want you. Let's go. Let's go. And they're going to go.
Right.
And if they're not interested, they're going to be like, they're going to be very respectful. And they're like, okay, I'm not interested. I got a boyfriend. Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if they like you, brother, green light. And brothers in the United States are deprived of that. I have spoken since I've been with BMO. I have spoken to hundreds of brothers that all of them share the same sentiment. Like, what's wrong with me? I try to do this, I try to do that, and nothing worked out. And they are suffering in silence. They're in need of healing. And one thing about BMO, when you go on a group trip, we have a support group, because after you go down to Brazil, you come back to the States, it's a transition. And, some guys, they have a hard time accepting that I'm back here in the States.
Right.
And it can be depressing.
Right.
All jokes aside, it can be very depressing, because now you've gone someplace where women that in their culture, they're considered 4, 5s, and 6s. But when we go down there, based on our perception of the environment that we left, those women are 6, 7, and 8s. which are women that you want to make wives. We're not even going to talk about the 9s and the 10s. I mean, sweetheart, you're not in the running, and they don't want to hear that. So it's hard. For me, I just can't do it. I can't deal with the attitude. You know, I wish them the best. I don't have any ill will or any animosity toward them. They can want what they want, but I'm going to go get what I want. For the last 40 years, you've been able to say, hey, I'm strong and independent. I don't need a man.
Right.
That sword cuts both ways. I'm strong and I'm independent, and I don't need you either.
Right. So let's take it back to Blair, and then I want Ken St. John's to come in, and the guy in the black, and then Elton. I want you to come back, brother. I know we got a lot of guys on the panel, but let's talk about Blair. You got 3 books. Go support brother Blair Nash. Go support him. Go support his books and his movement. But let's talk about how your books actually more or less reflect the dynamics that we're seeing in America. Let's talk about your books and use your books as a parrot to what's actually going on in America as it relates to relationships. And then Ken, I want you to come on and tell the audience who you are and why you're single.
Awesome. Well, thanks. So for those who aren't listening, I have 3 books. So when I first and the funny thing about it is all 3 books kind of have if you read the books, they all kind of come from I guess different vantage points. So when I did the first book, I was and I'm going to say something, and I want people to kind of listen to the whole breadth of what I'm saying. I would probably classify it as my Derek Jackson moment, where the book was very, just women are everything. Just find you a great woman and everything will be fine, right? And so that was how my first book it did, and it's, surprisingly, that was my most popular book. It went bananas, right? And then in 2017, what happened was I started kind of getting into and talking to a lot of different men. I talked to a friend of mine. His name was Bart Jefferson, who's a multimillionaire. Shout out to Bart, it's my dude. And they started having me just kind of watch YouTube videos, and he had me reading literature and just reading things. And I started kind of understanding the psychology of women and understanding like, oh wow, this is what women do. This is how they do this. This is how they shame you to do this and do that. And I was like, oh really? Wow. And so then he kind of showed me more and more and more. And so my next book came out in 2016, and I was still kind of, women are the greatest. By the time 2018 hit, my book was so I was so, and I don't even know really the word to use, that I actually had to go back and rewrite parts of the book because people were like, man, you really went in. You really dropped a lot of bombs in there and everything. And I went back and I was like, yeah, that was kind of heavy, wasn't it? So it's just very interesting listening to the brothers here on the panel because, I'm recently married for, I saw everybody raising their hands saying that they're single and everything. I'm recently married. I've been married 7 months now. We got married in Hilton Head, South Carolina, had a beautiful wedding. But for me, marriage was something I definitely wanted. It's something I've been wanting for a while, but I definitely also understand how and why a lot of us as Black men have the angst about marriage that we do. And so in writing my most recent book, I wanted to kind of corral the thoughts and energies of many of the Black men that I speak with over the years and help them to understand, and help women to understand why Black men are coming at them guns blazing as they have on the past, I don't know, what we say 5-6 years or whatever. And so because a lot of women just tune Ben out, and I said, well, wait a minute, they're listening to me. Why don't I, while I have their ear, why don't I tell them some things that I think they need to hear? And it worked. For the most part, it worked. But I think that what's happening is a lot of our women are just kind of really coming to the realization that, like, oh, wow, Black men are slowly moving away from us. Right. There's no way that you can look at it and say that Black, that everywhere, you hear with me, everywhere I look, Black men. Well, if you look at our marriage rates, they're considerably down. If you go anywhere on social media, if you talk to women anywhere in the country, and I've been everywhere in the country, I've been outside this country talking to black women. And the one thing that they say is black men are changing. You know, the idea that the kind of the notion and the energy that they had back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, a lot of our black men don't have that energy anymore. They're very just kind of dismissive of thinking about doing things like dates and marriage and anything of that nature. So, you know, for the brothers on the panel who were single, the Eric gentleman, what is it, Mr. Guapo? I want to make sure I got it right. Is it
El Guapo?
Yeah. El Guapo. My apologies. Sorry about that, brother.
It's all good.
You know, I definitely understand, because where you guys are at right now, I was literally there in 2017, 2018.
Right.
I was like, you know, these women are a trip. I do not want to get married. And, you know, there was a softening of my heart a little bit, but I definitely understand where you guys are at. I really do. Because like I said, I was that guy for real. Mm-hmm. You know, anybody that told me, I was like, marriage? Real? No. So, you know, the book that I have that's coming out now, Throwing the Rose-Colored Glasses Out the Window, is really just trying to help women to understand more. This is what men are trying to tell you. This is what men are trying to tell you about the way you dress, the way you approach them. This is what they're trying to tell you about the way you speak to them. And more and more and more, you're going to start to see black men moving away from dealing with black women.
Right.
I'll say this last thing, and I'll turn it back over. I have several friends who actually live outside the country, and one of the things that I find very fascinating. One of my friends she lives in South America, and she used to live in Atlanta. Now she lives in South America. And one of the things that she said was, if women only knew, and I'm sure you guys can kind of attest to this, if women only knew how great the black men are here in this country, they would run and jump in black men's lap.
Yes.
Because once you get outside the U.S.,
it's a different story.
The misogyny and any other thing that you can think of to put to it is present, and the men don't treat the women well. That, you know, they just don't, and they don't have to, because there's such a gluttony, like you said, of attractive young women.
Right.
So that's where I think we are right now, and that's, you know, like El Guapo, I'm just trying to kind of do my part to kind of help women to understand and see some things that they haven't really been able to absorb yet. So
well, I think a lot. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Let me say something real quick.
Right.
So the misconception is brothers are single because they want to be single.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that because you're not in our circle.
Right.
A lot of men want to be married. A lot of guys are looking for wives.
Yes.
I have talked to hundreds of guys that said, Eric, I'm here to find a wife.
Yes, sir. Right.
I've told Reeves that numerous times. I said, I'm looking for a wife. I said, I'm not looking for just the lifestyle. I said, because they believe in the family structure, you know, and just on our recent trip, we've had American women that were in Brazil, and they were by themselves.
Right. And
that is a reoccurring event every time I go.
Right.
They're in the VIP by themselves with all these Black American men, and they're not getting any kind of play.
Yes.
Or they're being their best selves, snapping, clapping, loud. And I kid you not, there was one Black woman that was so loud on the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. Not only did we hear her, but the Brazilians heard her, and the UK people heard her, and they looked it up and like, there's something wrong with her. Like, yes, we know, because you think you can push your ideology on everybody else.
Right.
And everybody is looking at you like, no. Now, I'm not saying anything about all of them, but you have to look at it from a perspective of demographics. Gen X guys have already been through the ringer.
Right.
And a lot of these guys, they're done. They're walking away. They don't want to hear it. Okay. So when they go to Brazil and they find peace, they end up getting married. I personally know guys that have met women on the street in Brazil, and they're still with that woman today.
Right.
When he comes in, they pick him up from the airport. Another brother, not just her, the family. They love his draws, all of them. When another brother just recently got engaged, brothers are getting married. They're not going to sit out here and tell everybody, "Hey, look, I found me a wife." They're just going to walk away. And those are the Gen X guys that are hitting their prime, guys with resources, guys that are done. So I'm not saying anything negative as far as what you're doing. I applaud you, but a lot of black women don't want to hear it. But when they go to Brazil, they see it and they're still in denial.
Right.
It's not cheap to go to Brazil.
It's not.
And when you get there, you are welcomed so warmly that it stuns you because you're not used to it in the States.
Right.
And not just because you got the dollar.
Yes.
It ain't just because you got the dollar. It's not. It's because you are a Black American male, and they really do look up to us.
Right.
And that's the thing that people don't understand. Black men don't understand. And when they come on group trips like that, we expose them, and people, they see that you are appreciated. Yeah, of course, it's not 100%, but hell, you're always gonna have haters. That ain't nothing new. But one thing about it, they damn sure love to see us. And when you come rolling through in 20 deep or more, brother, you're gonna get all kind of admiration.
Right.
So brothers do want to be husbands, but they've gone through the ringer and they just don't feel like there's nothing here in the States.
Right.
It's just too much.
You
telling me you overweight, but I'm supposed to take you how I am? And there's women down there in their 40s and 50s that are killing chicks in their 20s.
Killing it, right.
Yes, sir.
All day long.
Right. You're right.
All day long.
Right.
All day long.
You're right.
And when you come back here and you think I'm going to put up with that mouth, that ass, brothers, they just don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. Right.
You can't call us a coward. You ain't no real man, brother. We heard all that stuff. We done been battle tested.
Right.
For a lot of Gen X dudes, it's over with. And unfortunately, the die has been cast, and you're gonna start seeing the ramifications from it.
No doubt. No doubt. Ken, you're right. They are. I agree with you 100%. But we want you. But in a minute, I'm gonna bring Ken on there. Eric, I want you to tell us when you're gonna find your piece. But Ken St. Patrick, I did a show about can a man find love in Brazil, and Ken was on the feature cover. So guys that are listening, please like, share, and subscribe to the Coach Clinician. Go check out my brother El Guapo on Beautiful Lives as well. So back to Ken. Ken, tell the audience who you are, and tell the audience why you haven't found your peace, which is your rib, but also why you haven't found peace within the confines of America. Tell the audience, Ken.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Well, my name's Ken. I'm actually a travel event photographer, and I've been doing photography for about 10 years, and traveled most of the country, in and out different events. And I think one of the main reasons I'm practically single and haven't really got off into looking into marriage is because the juice is not necessarily worth the squeeze.
It ain't worth the squeeze, right?
But I will say, after traveling with Brazil with the brotherhood and just having to experience a different culture, different women, I get a clear picture of what's going on, where I can compare American women to a different culture of women who is really, just the femininity is so much going on in Brazil that it speaks a lot.
Okay, all right. So what have you seen in relationships as it relates to femininity in Brazil versus what you've seen in America, and how the American women different from Brazilian women, in your opinion, Ken?
I would have to say just the abundance of patience.
Right.
The women there have. I think I spoke about that on your last video, how they would take the time out to actually let you use the translator and communicate with them. And where here in America, you could speak to a woman, at Walmart and just try to have a casual conversation. And, a lot of them are just kind of shrug you off. Like, get out my face.
Right. Right. It appears to me that there appears to be a lot of entitlement. El Guapo, you talked about how the women are fit and pretty in Brazil, and they're also very accommodating. In your best estimation, are the men in Brazil more masculine than the men in America? And if so, tell the audience why, from your best estimation.
Okay, so honestly, are they more masculine? No. Do they operate within machismo? Yes.
Yes, right.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
So the men are not more masculine, but the competition is fierce amongst the women there. Mm-hmm. It is no joke. Like a woman that would appear to be an 8 or 9 to us over there views herself as a 5 or 6.
Right, right.
Yeah. So she does not think that she's anything special, despite the fact she may have long, curly, natural hair that, is all hers, and her nails are natural, and she doesn't have to wear makeup and stuff like that. And her stomach is flat. And there's more than just the way that she looks, but that is the entry point for us men. Right.
Right.
So, but I have a lot of actual native Brazilian friends down there. Over the years, I've made a lot of friends. Man, a guy will get a new girlfriend down there if his girlfriend gets sick. No joke. That's how they roll, because they're spoiled for choice. I mean, and you can't really fault them for that. It's not necessarily the way we would operate, but there's something, and I forget who said it, but one thing that is really important to know is how desired the American black man is viewed in the rest of the world. That was the biggest eye-opening thing. Forget the women.
Right, right.
Just how we're viewed over there. So, honestly, I've had this talk a lot with my fiance, and and you'd be blown away by what other cultures, especially Latin cultures, think of black men, American black men. It's incredible. So when I started traveling to Brazil and stuff like that, I kind of quickly found out that, the American black man is like the second most desired man to marry on the planet and the number 1 most sexually desired man on the planet. That's real, man.
Yes,
and that is not how we operate here. Mm-hmm. So are Brazilian men more masculine? No, I don't think so. I really don't. Brazilian men are pretty freaking laid back. They really are. When it comes to aggressiveness, go-getters, masters of the universe, I think we got it hands down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I want you to tell the audience at Guapo about your beautiful wife-to-be, Bella. And what do you see in your current wife-to-be from Colombia versus your prior 2 American wives? What is the dichotomy between the 2 women? And how is the femininity different between your exes versus your wife-to-be?
Yeah, so I better get this right because she's listening. I might need a drink. Hey, baby, if you're listening, can I get a scotch? I'd appreciate a scotch.
Yeah, bring on to that Guapo. She want to talk. Bring on to.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to talk to her?
Yes, bring on. She want to talk about how American women are different than Colombian women. Yes, sir.
It would be great. It would be great for her to hear from her. What Latin women think of black men. That's great.
That's
I won't
perfect.
put her on camera. I won't put her on camera, but I'll put her on, and you can talk to her.
Yes,
if she's willing to get on. I think she will. But so my first 2 wives, I've been blessed to pick good women in my life. I haven't dealt with many raggedy women. I'm afraid of that, man. There's too much drama that goes along with that. But the one thing that I see is the staunch desire from Labea to be in her strong feminine role and to be a helpmate. She loves it. She loves it. She'll ask me over and over again, Guapo, do you need anything? Can I do something for you? This and that, to the point that it's kind of annoyance to me. But she actually really does enjoy doing it. So I have to, like, I'm ex-military. Fellas, you guys have been in the military. I can iron a shirt better than anybody. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes,
she
sir.
wants to iron my shirt, you know.
Right.
So, and it's not that she's a domestic. She makes good money. You know, she makes more money than 95% of American women. As a Colombian that's been in this country for 4 years. And for real, she's no slouch either. You know, she was a professor in Colombia before she moved here.
Oh, wow.
You know, yeah. So the people say, hey, that, and I don't mean to get off topic, but people say, oh, they just want a green card and a passport. Yo, my chick was here and made good dough before I even met her. So women don't, I don't want to promote my channel, but I talked about this. I talked about a lot of black women are not even on the playing field. They're sitting there arguing the rules of the game while these chicks from other cultures are dusting their boots, man. They've been training their whole lives to be wives and to be housemates.
That's it.
Their entire lives.
They were
and
trained.
that's why I think we got a cultural issue.
I totally agree.
Man, and I'm telling you, man, these women, you know, even my Southern Belle wife from a good family,
they don't compare.
Was a good wife. She was not even close, bro. The stuff that LaBea does for me is to the point that I wasn't trying to even get married, but I was like, man, you'd be a fool if you didn't give this chick a bona fide interview. You know what I'm saying? And she passed with flying colors, and you see she's got that 2.4 carats on her finger, so she did something right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Blair, back to you, and then classy young man, I want you to come on, and then Ken, I want you to finish talking as well. But Blair, before you found your wife in America, what were some of the challenges that you saw in American women? You know, I know you was going through a Derek Jackson moment at one time, but
I was. I can't lie. Yes,
but what did you see in your wife current versus the women that you were dating, and how is your wife now your peace? Because what women don't understand from a mental health perspective, men need peace in order to become optimized males. I've said several times that there are 7 principles that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. One is female psychology, and the second one is health. And so when a man is going through optimized health, he's at his best. So what was it about your current wife now that made you choose her as a wife versus all the other women that you dated in the past?
Right. So very good question. If you allow me to tell a very, very quick story. So, you know, I told you I have my 3 books, and I believe it was my 2nd book. So it had to be 2017, right? And so I get invited to do, you know, come out and speak to our book club, etc. Right? Okay, cool. So I get invited to be a special guest. They even made a cake with the cover of my book on it. It was so fly, right? So I engaged them and I said, ladies, show of hands. Who in here? So it was like 25 women. I said, show of hands. Who in here is married, right? It was like maybe 8 out of 25 of the women, right? And so I said, okay, all right. So I said, what are the things that you guys are looking for from men, right? And they were like, I want him to be this, he needs to be this. I want him to be, you know, a man of God. I want him to, you know, this, and I want him to know how to cut grass. And I was like, okay, that's a phenomenal list. Now tell me, what are the things that you think are important to men? What's the very first thing? And don't say food or sex. What are the things that are important to men? You would have thought I asked a calculus question. I mean, they just looked around like, I don't know.
Right.
And I said, the very first thing that men look for when they look for a quality woman is peace.
Peace. Yes, sir.
If you cannot bring peace to that man, if I cannot walk through the door, no matter what the circumstances going on, if I can't come through the door and have peace with you, I'm going to eventually start going somewhere else.
Yes,
and
sir.
You know what that means, right?
Right.
So a man has to have peace. I don't care if the lights are off. I don't care what. I got to have peace when I walk through my door to see my wife, right? So these are things that a lot of our women just do not know, right? And so to your question, one of the things that was very important to my wife, you know, at the time we were dating, was how can I be of service to you? Not, you know, anything like, do you need any money? No, nothing like that. How can I be of service to you? What can I do? What can I help you with in your, with your books? Do you need an editor? Do you need someone to proofread your books? Do you need someone to look at your website? Do you need someone? It was a bunch of different things that says, okay, she's really vested. She's not just, one of them, hey, I want to go out and, with in your Lexus and be seen on the town and doing whatever. No, she was really hands-on, boots on the ground, very invested in my brand and in Blair, asking about my health. Are you eating properly? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Whereas a lot of the women, anybody that knows my friends know I never had no problems meeting the women, right?
Right.
There were a lot of women who didn't care about those things, right? They didn't mind as long as we was out on the scene and, clubbing and dancing, and we were going out to some, restaurant spending, $60 a platter, no problem. But when you put that aside and we're talking about building and talking about, kind of connecting and having a tribe, many of those women weren't really around. They only around for the fun stuff. So that's one of the main things that was important that I noticed in her. And it had nothing to do with, well, what are you going to do for me if I do this? It wasn't any sort of, I will do this if you do. She basically expressed, this is the kind of person I am. Another thing that was very important to me was someone who was a family person. A lot of our women say that they're family women, but then you kind of look at their understanding and their philosophies about family, and you see that it's very flawed and wrecked. Has a huge family, and she was very much about family, very much about doing things in a proper fashion, not having children out of wedlock, etc. So like I said, very domestic, and cook her ass. Can I say that?
Yeah,
cook her ass off and everything, right?
Go ahead, brother. Go
so
ahead.
she can cook her ass off, beautiful. Like El Guapo said, I'm shooting from half court on this one. I'm gonna make this woman my wife. So
no doubt, right?
Yeah, there were a lot. It was just really a matter of just kind of watching her over a period of literally years. Because I'll be honest, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I didn't want marriage when we met. I was fresh out of a I won't quite call it a raggedy relationship, but a relationship where there was a woman who kind of, in a lot of ways, fooled me for about a year, had me thinking she was walking on water, and then pivoted just out of nowhere and just, started being disrespectful and everything. And you might know me, no, I don't do no disrespect. So she had to go. But I was fresh out of that. So I didn't really want to be in any sort of long-term relationship. But as I started watching my wife and just watching her without having to initiate or say, this is what I'm looking for. She was doing it on her own, making moves and doing things and positioning us as a family as far as doing, like I said, cooking great meals, making sure the house was, spotless, just doing small things. And so I was like, you don't get too much better than this.
Right.
Educated, like I said, across the board, it was just like it was just like she was hitting on everything. So that's what was important to me. And, as you mentioned, she brought about peace in my life. One of the things that I told her, because of what I do, I'm a dating coach, I'm a matchmaker, I go to a lot of events, I socialize with a lot of people. So by the time I get back in the evening, I'm spent. And she understands that and is very much you can have your alone time. I'm gonna go upstairs and, watch, watch my movies and whatever. And, she's not like, baby, I want to come spend time with you. She wasn't like that. She brought peace, even when we're having our disagreements. We've been together as a couple, maybe 5 years, and we've had maybe 5 disagreements. I've never had an argument, none of that slamming the door type stuff, 'cause I dealt with that too, but never had any big arguments. 5 years, maybe 5 disagreements. So we doing great.
That's great.
And we ain't even had a disagreement since we got married. So,
that's powerful, man. That is powerful. And I like what El Guapo said, but also you said as well, Blair. A lot of times people mock women that want good men. They call them pick-me's. But I call men, a term that I created, called men are the prize catchers. Because men, we determine who we want to marry. And so a woman should be on her best behavior if she want to get picked. So being a pygmy actually is a good thing, because this woman is coming into a relationship to serve her man. And women years ago understood that, Blair. But now a lot of women come into relationships expecting to be served instead of serving their man. When you look at it through the lens of theology, it says to the bride, prepare herself for the bridegroom. But now a lot of women don't come in relationships preparing themselves for the bridegroom. They come in the relationship more or less wanting to get what they can get without saying, what can I do to be a blessing to my husband? Right. What's your take on that? And then, classy young man, I want you to chime in. You've been patient for a while, brother.
Hello, gentlemen. How's it going? My name is Corey Henderson. I am an anesthesia resident, P3. And I've traveled from South Africa, Cape Town. That's where my aunt, she's a cardiologist there. I've been to Nigeria, Lagos. I've been to Senegal, Gorée Island. And also I've been to Dakar in Senegal, where the big Renaissance statue stands, as everybody's seen online. However, I wanted to say, the reason why I haven't found what I wanted in America is just I had to adapt with the times. I used to be the guy that was the gentleman. I didn't mind taking a woman out. I didn't mind paying for him. But now it gotten to the point where I was being taken advantage of. So now we live in today's world. You have to understand marriages is going to be a lot harder for Black men, because a lot of these women do not have father figures. So they're not going to give a man respect as a husband, because all they've seen nothing but women. So it's going to be extremely hard. So in today's culture today, we live in a culture what is called, it's just your turn. See, these women know they have control of sex. They know getting a relationship, long-term relationship, is going to be kind of hard for them. So they control it by sex. Oh, I like you. I'm just going to give you the sex. Now, my personal opinion on marriage today, or even having kids, is based around an agenda now. Meaning is, I just want the prize to be able to flaunt myself that, hey, I got a ring and I'm going to divorce him and take him for whatever he has. If I have his child, I'm going to put him on child support and I'm going to claim that he's a deadbeat. So you have a lot working against you. It came to a point where I was just comfortable getting a sex doll, saying, you know what? She doesn't get pregnant. She doesn't catch diseases, and she won't talk back. And if she does, I can put her in a closet.
Hey, Corey, hold on. Blair, I know you got to go, but thank you, man, for coming on. It's always a pleasure, man. I love you, brother. Man. You always bring great insight. And to the guys that are listening, please like, share, and subscribe to the Coach the Clinician. Go check out my brother again, Beautiful Lives. And if you like what we're doing, please donate to Cash App. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to grow this platform. And being a clinical therapist, it takes a lot of time performing these shows and putting them together. But I do it all for the love of the brotherhood. So go support El Guapo, support my channel, and please cash out $7 Smalls if you like what we're doing, because we're trying to start a movement and try to help liberate one man at a time from a clinical perspective. So Blair Nash, thank you. It's always a pleasure. And go support Brother Blair Nash in his books, okay?
And pray for me, because I gotta finish up kitty nights and everything. So they usually stay up till 1 o'clock watching movies. So
okay, no doubt.
Brother Blair, where can we find your books, man?
You can go to my website, blairnashspeaks.com.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go there and learn about me, see about my, coaching, matchmaking, and all that.
Okay, perfect, Blair. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you, brothers.
Much love, man. No doubt. Be good.
Y'all enjoy your evening.
Now, Corey's a doctor. So, Corey, finish telling your story, man. Finish telling your story.
So it's gotten to the point where I've started to adapt it with the times with, okay, women want to be single. Women want to be equal to men. Okay, go ahead and give them that, give them that respect. No disrespect here. And it's gotten to the point where you can't even tell a Black woman to smile or even say hi to them. I can tell you a story when I had, I just got off work and I had went to the store. My phone had ran out of battery. So I wanted to know what time it was. I went in, tapped his sister on her shoulder. I said, "Excuse me, miss." She said, "Oh, I don't like it when you call me that." I said, "Well, you have to forgive me." I said, "I don't know your name. So I have to get past introduction 1 first, which is the hi." Clearly it failed. I said, "Number 2, I can't call you dear because you haven't earned that right yet. So I don't know your name. So I was just going to ask you, do you have the time?" "Oh, you just another thirsty, blah, blah, blah." And I was just like, well, okay, this is a bad thing. I can't do nothing with this. I'll just go ahead and walk away. Now, at that point, I was just like, well, okay, it's time to get out of the United States. I've traveled before and I'm not scared to travel, and I'll do it again. And if I have to find my wife in another country, I have no problems doing that.
Right. So why haven't you found your wife? You know, you're a doctor, you have money, and then we're going to bring in El Guapo back and his beautiful wife, La Bella, to be. And I want her to tell how Colombian women are different than American women. But Corey, why haven't you found your wife? You're well established. You know, you're not a bad looking dude. You're smart. And so why haven't you found your wife?
Well, for a lot of women, I don't meet the criteria. I don't meet the 6-foot basic voice type. As you can well know, my voice is very light. I still look like a kid, as you saw me in Brazil. So, with that being said, it's just I thought it was me at first. I kept going down the list and I kept paying attention to women to find out exactly what it is that I'm doing wrong. So, as I'm grooming myself to become a better man, I'm checking out all the check marks. And it still wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And the problem is I never tell anybody what I do for a living, because that's also a test to see if the woman actually likes me for me or for what I do. Because there's been plenty of times that I've done that and it's, oh, you got the bag. And the first thing went to my mind, oh my gosh, she's going to try to get pregnant.
Right.
And so at that point, I was just like, there's nothing more I can do. I got frustrated. And so the first time I saw the movie Frustrated, basically it just had got me more interested in joining BMO. Thank you to Eric Gerald and thank you to Ralphie for introducing me to all these brothers. But besides going to Brazil, meeting all these beautiful women who are very embracing, just like the whole culture, I had fun with the brotherhood, because not only did they taught us about how the culture was, they taught us how to to maneuver around Rio. And I thought that was beautiful as well, just in case if we wanted to branch out for a minute. But yeah. Okay,
great. So El Guapo, I want you to bring your wife on, because, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about, you know, foreign women, like you said, the green card. They just want you for your money. And we know that all women want men for money. But I want you to bring your wife to be on and let her give her own anecdotal experience about American women versus the women in Colombia.
Man, you trying to set her up for disaster, bro.
Well, I mean,
how about we do this?
Go
ahead. Can we talk with her a little bit about how black men are viewed in Latin countries?
Yes, sir.
Is that cool?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this is the La Bella to my El Guapo. She's sitting over here. She's ready and raring to go. So I'm gonna let you ask the questions, man. You know, she's a little reluctant to talk on black women out of respect for the culture and stuff like that.
Right. Respect. Right.
But she has a very, very good insight on how black men are viewed outside of the borders of this country. So, baby, you want to unmute yourself? Can you hear her?
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
See.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I should start talking now.
Yes, you can. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So
you were going to ask me something.
Yes. So the question is, how are black men in Latin countries viewed? How are American black men viewed within the confines of Colombia? How are they viewed?
So I would like to start saying that Latin American countries are very diverse. We really appreciate and we think that black race is very beautiful. So I think that in the one of our first day, I was telling him how black beauty is seen in Latin America. Even in literature, you can find a lot of music and a lot of books and a lot of poetry talking about black people, black women, and black men. So, how are black men seen in Latin American countries? I think they are very appreciated. They are very loved. We really think that they are really attractive, really handsome, really masculine, like respectful. And it's like I think he was talking before and he was saying, like, we want to be with a black man.
Oh, wow. Wow. So there are some La Bella that says that, they don't like black men. I've heard some women say that in foreign countries, black men are pariahs. What do you say about that? They said that black men are not celebrated in foreign countries. What do you say about that, Labella?
I, I don't think so. I think that they are. I mean, you just have mentioned before, you have been treated well in the country that you have been. I think that is not just Brazil, it's not just Latin American. I think that all over the world you can go and see and feel welcome and feel appreciated and feel loved and feel respected.
Right, right. Well, you got a stunning husband to be, El Guapo. What did you see in your handsome
Muy
husband
guapo.
to be? What did you
He's
see in
muy
your husband?
guapo. What did he, there are a lot of things that I admire about him.
Right,
Uh, is no, I think that since the first day that we met, we never talk about money. We never talk about all those things that you hear a lot in here in this culture. Because what I wanted to see was how he was as a person. I wanted to know more about him. I really admire all the good things that he has. He's really hardworking. He's respectful. He is the most resilient guy that I had ever met. Um, I see him working so hard every day, working now with his
right,
channel, going to bed so late, getting up so early, and I really admire all those things.
right,
Uh, I see that he is a wonderful father with his kids. He's a wonderful person. Like I see how the people treat him and how he treats people. So I mean, my guapo is my guapo. I can say that I'm very thankful for have been meeting him because I know that there are a lot of guys out there and there are a lot of wonderful guys, but I think that I got the best.
right.
I'm very, very happy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, you got an excellent husband to be. How are Latin men in Colombia different than
Oh, thank
American
you.
men? How are Latin men different than
Uh,
Colombian men different than American black men? And we know that there are Afro-Colombian men too, but how are the
yes.
Afro-Colombian men different than the African American men?
So mm, I would say that you can see in Latin American countries more machismo.
Mm-hmm.
Like the roles are very well defined in Latin American. So what your role as a woman is and what your role is as a husband. But I would say that we don't have that kind of or competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
the husband is the husband and he has his role. As a woman, I also have my role. How are Latin men different from black men? I would say that black men are more. I cannot find the word right now. More understandable could be the word.
Mm.
I don't know if Latin men are as patient and
Right.
as they are. To be honest, I cannot tell too much about dating Latin uh, men because I have never been interested in Latin guys. I'm not saying that they are no great. My brothers are Latinos, Colombian in this case. My father is Colombian, and they are
Right.
also men. But I just don't. I feel attracted to black guys, and that's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like to me, El Guapo, that American men are more egalitarian. We talked about how a lot of women, if they were in Brazil or Colombia, American women would be invisible. So why do you think American men are so egalitarian, El Guapo, from your best estimate, based on what your wife to be said?
Sure, we'll do. Hey, baby, make sure you mute so we don't get any feedback, okay? I think we should be good. Okay, so I don't know if we're egalitarian, to be honest with you. I
Mm-hmm.
think that American black men have been through so much and I don't want to turn it into this conversation through slavery, Jim Crow, segregation with our women, that we have a deeper understanding for the struggle of women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because they went through it with us.
Right.
And here's what I'll tell you with absolute certainty: the American black man pedestalizes his woman more than any man walking the face of this earth.
Right.
We operate with our women with a greater level of understanding, empathy, and patience than any man walking the face of this earth. Seriously, by far. And women from other cultures see that and they appreciate that. I just told you down in Brazil, look, they'll get rid of you if you catch a cold, for real. So when for example, Labea had COVID,
mm-hmm.
and I took very good care of her for 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that was a big deal to her. So black women don't understand what they've got. They don't. And unfortunately, they're losing out.
Right.
They're really losing out. We are the most understand. Okay. Can I go deep with you?
Go deep.
Listen.
Clinician? Yes, go deep, because if it ain't kosher, it ain't right. So I want you to go
That's
deep.
Right. We are the most genetically superior men walking the face of this planet.
I totally agree.
American black women have the best men walking the face of this planet.
Right.
And we are the most underappreciated by our women on the face of this planet.
I totally
as
agree.
well. And
Right.
I'm going to tell you what, we can't save everybody, like I said. If they don't want to realize it, one thing that my black mother, who is absolutely brilliant and I love with all my heart, taught me early on is that you need to go where you're celebrated.
Yes, sir.
And appreciated, not just tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally will give a black woman the first right of refusal every time. But if you want to refuse and you want to send the biggest losers, double entendre there, to be your representative on a date with me, then you missed out.
Right.
And then somebody like Labea slides in and puts forth her absolute best effort. She leaves nothing on the bench. She puts everything out there on the field and comes at me and's like, I want a relationship with you, which if she jumps back on, I don't want you to jump back on yet, baby, because it's the cross feed. But she asked me for a relationship, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She asked to be with me.
Yes,
and
sir.
I set my parameters and she met those parameters. Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself. I want you to unmute and confirm. Huh? You got kicked out? Oh, she said she got kicked out.
Tell her to come back on. Tell her to come back on.
Go back in. Yeah. So, gentlemen, you don't have any idea how valuable you are. And I encourage you, listen, I'm not going to say like Kwame says, because I don't have my mama's cooking. I always call my mother mom.
Right.
I'm going to give you some mom's dinner right now. You ready for mom's dinner?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go where you are celebrated,
right,
and appreciated, not just tolerated.
Right.
Because you are extremely valuable. If you make money in the United States, that automatically puts you in the top 1% of incomes for the world.
Right.
Just if you make your money here in dollars.
Yes, sir. Right. Right.
Okay. And then if you're one of those men that makes 75,000 plus, you're in the top 15% of the top 1%. If you're like my mentor, you're in the top 1% of the top 1%. You are a force to be reckoned with. And genetically superior, of course every woman wants you.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
And stop believing the hype and get out of the indoctrination. Guys, we are powerful. And there are women. I got a family member that has a famous quote. And I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, so I can't identify this family member, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Most women would slit your throat to be in your position.
That's true.
And that's as real as it gets. And I know there are brothers on here older than me. I know there are brothers on here younger than me. But the world is your oyster. And it's up to you to be a pioneer and go out there and explore. I think Labea is back in. So do me a favor real fast. And we're going to jump off in a little bit. But I want her to confirm what I just said.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Sweetheart, did you ask me for a relationship, did I set my parameters, tell you, hey, you have to do this, this, and this, and then did you do it? I'm going to mute myself. You unmute yourself.
Yes. Yes. I did it,
Right.
and you did it, and I, can you say I got or I accomplished those parameters.
So, what was so alluring, LaBella, about El Guapo? What, you know, he's very, you say he's handsome, he's very charming. What did he do to woo you? What did he do to make you, you know, why were you so adamant about making him being his woman?
There are a couple of things that I saw since the beginning, and as you already said, like the physical appearance matter, and I was attracted to him. I am still, right, but I think that the way that he treats people, it was a really catch for me, and how smart and how respectful he is. Um, the way that that first day went, it was great. And also something that I had as a plus, and I have to say, is that his family.
Yes.
Uh, I love the relationship that he has with his family members, especially because I am family oriented, and for me, it's really important to have that in my husband to be. You know, it's like,
Yes,
as I
ma'am. Right.
already told him, I don't have a lot of things to offer related to money and things like that, but I can offer you my family. My family is gonna be your family. They are already telling you that you are part of the family, and
Right.
that's important to me. So when I start getting to know more about his family, like interacting with them and seeing his interaction with his family, that was something that it was for me like that's something that you don't see very often. Oh well, and in the fact that he is goal oriented and he has those goals and he wants to go and get them. And when we start to getting to know each other more, I am a fan of listening to his stories, and he knows that. I love when he tells me his stories. I told him that I wanted to learn from him, uh, because I really appreciate that. I love learning, and I think that he has, as a woman, I have to learn a lot of things, and he has a lot of things that he can teach me, and he is willing to do. Um, he has experience. Uh, he has a vision of the world that I don't have, and I
Right.
wanted to get to know that. You know, that is
Right.
interesting to me. Is more, is another experience that I was willing to live. It was another thing. It's like when you are like, I guess that is kind of the same feeling that when you went for the first time to Brazil and you saw all those different things that you don't see very often, and you get attracted to those, and they are so appealing to you that you really want to keep on knowing more about those. So that happened to me. I get so attracted to those things that I saw in him that I was like, I want him. It's like I want it, and you know, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to put some work.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. El Guapo, I know you got to go, brother. I want to ask you this question before your beautiful wife leave. But how has your wife been your peace, meaning your peace? But how has she been your peace, meaning she's going to be your wife to be? Tell the audience how she's calibrated your mind, how she's been essential to your growth. And if you don't mind sharing, if you don't mind, you know, if you don't mind giving a comparison and the contrast to your wife to be versus the past relationships, if you feel comfortable sharing that. How has LaBella been your peace?
Okay, so here's the thing. She is absolutely my peace. When I met her, we lived in two different places.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And every time she would come to spend like a weekend with me or something of that matter, she did everything within her power to make my life better and more comfortable, to fill the gaps for me. for example, it is kind of personal, but from the military, I have kind of flat feet, okay, and I developed, some foot problems and stuff like that. Nothing major, but my feet get sore,
Right.
and so she would bring her little, I don't know what it's called. It's like a Dremel tool. It's this fancy blue thing that she'll, grind down my calluses and stuff like that. And I wouldn't have to ask her to do it. She would just do it. And she would be like, hey, can I brought the stuff. Can I work on your feet? And she would bring, what is it, orange oil, coconut oil? What kind of oil was it? Orange oil. She would bring orange oil and work on my feet so my feet will feel better. You know what I'm saying? I literally have not had to wash clothes. That's not true. You were out of town when I came back, and then I had to go to Brazil. I had to wash one load of clothes since her and I have lived together. She makes my lunch every day.
Oh, that's powerful.
Okay, she makes my lunch for work every day. I get up for work in the morning at 3 to 3:30 a.m. She gets up with me, makes my coffee. She puts a little note in my lunch every day, yo.
That's powerful.
On Saturday, I guarantee I work on Saturdays. I come home, she spent her whole day cleaning this house that I've moved her into. Okay, I moved her in with me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And she'll listen to her Latin music and she'll dance and do whatever it is she's doing, and the house will be spotless when I get home.
Oh, that's
so
powerful.
she is and this is key, gentlemen. It's more than a pretty face.
Yes, sir.
It is a feminine amplifier.
Right.
It really is. It is that small catalyst that you need in that chemical reaction to make it explosive and your life brilliant. So you have to find the right type of woman, but they're out there. Hey, can you do this for me? Can we do a little Kevin Samuels? Hey, babe, give them your height, weight, and dress size, just so they know.
Go ahead, LaBella. Did she hear you?
My weight is
Your height.
my height. I'm too short. I'm 5'2". 5'2". My weight is right now 134 pounds.
Okay, good.
And my dress size is size 2.
Oh, wow.
How many days a week do you work out?
How many days a week? All week. So I go to personal trainer to the gym twice a week, and I work out here at home the rest of the day.
Right. That is powerful. That is powerful. You know what, man? You seem so happy. And I can see why a lot of men, when they leave Latin countries, have a catharsis where they're sad when they come back within the confines of America, man. Salute to you, brother Aguapo. I know you guys got to go. I wish you and LaBella the best when you guys get married with your nuptials. And whenever you guys decide to get married, man, let me know. I'm going to fly out and I'm going to show you some love, man.
We're going to do it. We're going to get married next year. Oh, I'm sorry. Turn your thing on mute.
Right.
She said she wants to say something, but give me 1 second, baby. We're getting married next year just outside of Bogota. Okay. So, KC, you are definitely invited. For y'all that don't know, I was in Brazil.
Right.
Sitting in the spot.
Right.
And I heard somebody say, hey, a waffle.
Right.
2 in the morning. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's my man, kosher clinician.
Right.
We chopped it up. He introduced me to Grease. Grease and I had a great conversation. Brothers, if you're ever in Brazil and you see me, I'm juiced in a little bit. Maybe not as much as Grease, but maybe as much as Grease.
Right.
Come holler at me. I'll be glad to show you the ropes. The only thing better than going to Brazil for the first time is vicariously seeing it through somebody's eyes for the first time.
Yes,
and
sir.
I absolutely love that feeling. So if you see me, if you need anything, please reach out. All of my contact information is on my channel, Beautiful Lies. If you need to reach out to me, El Guapo at thebeautifullies.com. Okay. And will you let LaBella say something real fast?
Yeah.
I bet it's going to be good.
Yeah, please do it. And then El Guapo, I want to ask you a question before you guys leave.
I'll hang around. Sure.
Why did you call your channel Beautiful Lives? So I want LaBella to say what she needs to say, but then before you guys go, why did you choose the name Beautiful Lies? Okay, so go ahead, LaBella. Tell your story.
Thank you. No, I just wanna. I heard him saying something like, "I like to clean and love to cook, and I love to do a lot of things for him." And it's something that I learned, and I learned this from my mom and from my grandmom.
Right.
And they said something like, "Do your best for the people that you really want in your life and the people that you care about and you love." So there is no, in this case, there is no boundaries. I mean, I love cooking, I love cleaning, I love doing things for him because what I learned in my home is doing things for the people that you love without expecting something. That's the key. You don't expect that somebody is going to give you this or somebody is going to give you that. No, you do it because it's what brings you joy. So
Right.
it brings me joy doing things for him. I love cooking. Actually, tomorrow he's gonna eat a Colombian meal for his, like another different Colombian meal. I already got all the ingredients from Miami, and I have to get some kind of things cheap here. But you know, like those are the kind of things that I love doing. I love doing that because that's the way that I also show my love for him. Serving makes people happy, and helping him, doing things for him makes me happy.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I love that. And there was a
Thank you.
time in America that a lot of our women did that, but unfortunately, they became brainwashed by liberal policies where they thought that serving their man and showing their man love made them a slave. And because of that, a lot of men are divesting and they're leaving or just staying single, like brother Eric Spencer. But we're gonna get him married at some point too. El Guapo, why did you choose the name Beautiful Lives?
Awesome. Hey, Eric, she's got a sister, and her sister's younger. I'm just letting you know. But listen, yeah. So, Beautiful Lies. I'm going to be honest. So there's two reasons, and I hope there's no litigation. You know, Kevin Samuels plays that song "Good Lies" by Vividry as his intro,
right.
And I've always felt like being. I haven't told this story. You're getting an exclusive kosher clinician.
Right.
The scotch is hitting me, but here's an exclusive. So I'm an Air Force veteran. When I went to the Air Force Academy, I went through combat survival training. Okay. And I want to do a video on this, but I'm going to drop it first here on your channel.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
It was 2 weeks of classroom. And then it was going out into the wilderness and surviving and invading. Okay. And the most impactful day throughout the whole endeavor was the day on indoctrination.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us this story that sounded so good. And it was such a lie. And it changed my mindset forever that those things that just sound good are not necessarily the right thing. They're beautiful lies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of, like I said before, a double entendre. You know, most things that are beautiful are lying to you. You ever been on a flight over the Caribbean or something like that, and you see how blue the water is? That water is deadly as hell if you're in it. You know what I mean? Or I've flown to Brazil over the Amazon, and it's so green and so lush and it looks so good. But it is the deadliest terrestrial place you can be on the face of this planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? From the jungle cats to the snakes to the bugs and stuff like that. Beautiful things tend to lie. Beautiful women tend to lie. Beautiful scenery tends to lie. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of open people's eyes. Like Brother Blair was saying, let's take these rose-colored glasses off and see things for what they actually are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go
Gail, I see you in the chat. I love Gail, man.
I love her too,
Gail,
man. I love Gail.
I for some reason my channel is not searchable. Will you drop a link in the chat if you have it for my channel? I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, is that a good enough explanation? That's why I call it Beautiful Lies, man. I heard your Good Lies, and I was like, man, I like Beautiful Lies, man. So shout out to the Godfather.
Right.
Kosher clinicians, shout out to you. This was dope, fellas.
No
I
doubt.
wish I could hang out, but 3:30 is approaching rapidly, and
Yes,
I've
sir.
got to
Right.
get up and go to work tomorrow.
I understand, brother. Well, listen, I'm going to have you back again when hopefully with Grease next week. Maybe you guys can come back on. You know, I can bring some of the guys back. But like you said, blessings and salutations, man. You know, I love the velvet voice. You know, you got the smooth velvet, I got the rough velvet. But like I said, man, I love you and respect you, and I wish you and LaBella well on your nuptials, man. And thank you for coming on, and thank you for your kindness. And we will do this again at some point. And I'm gonna try to have Al Grease on and some more of the BMO brothers, man. And we're gonna continue to talk about why men are frustrated within the confines of America, why men are suffering in silence, why men are divesting, and why men are actually going their own way and saving themselves. So thank you once again, and blessings to you and LaBella.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you, guys. And we appreciate it. I can't wait to do it again, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, it will be soon. So salute, King. Be well, brother.
All right. Take care,
right.
fellas.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Be well. All right. So Terrence, Mr. Horn, and then Eric Spencer, and my man Ken, and my man Mousy Corey. So I want you guys to talk about once again about you were married 3 times, Mr. Horn. Right. What happened, and what did you learn in those 3 relationships that that made you a better man since you've traveled abroad? There's an echo in the back. Somebody, there's an echo.
Well, I guess for me, you know, of the 3 women I was married to, 2 of them were amazing. No, I'm not going to take anything from them. They were amazing.
Yes, sir.
I just wasn't ready for marriage. You know, 24 years, all of my marriages occurred in my 24 years of military service. So did all of my divorces. But what I learned later on in spending so much time by myself, you know, when the whoring days and the player days and all that stuff was over with, I started to really look at myself and what I appreciate most in women. But I started, and it's such a struggle, brothers, that as I become more and more enlightened, and somebody said it in here, we're not abandoning the Black woman, we're divesting.
Divesting, right.
Yeah, and that blew me away, you know, because, you know, it's as I become more enlightened, I realize I don't think she's here because of the way she's been culturalized, the way she's been groomed. You think about it, El Guapo said his woman was raised to be a wife.
Right.
Well, many of our women now are raised, you know, I heard a brother say the other day, look, I raised my daughter to change her own tire, to be independent. And I'm thinking, you raised your daughter to be alone, is what you just said to me. So I think for me, what I learned is that we talk about the submissiveness of women, but I think about it, most of us go back to if we were raised in church, most of our pastors were men. And they talked about the submission of a woman, but they never talked about our submission to them. And that's something that I learned, that my woman's will should be executed by my hands.
Right.
And that's pretty much who I'm looking for and what I hope to find at some point.
What have you learned, Horn, about travels overseas, and you've traveled and you've seen beautiful women from different parts of the country? What have you learned in that experiment, and how has it been beneficial to you and your psyche?
Well, I can definitely say, and being real brief, I had a German woman tell me a couple of years back why she appreciated Black men so much. She made the comment that, you know, Horn, if I give you cologne and you wear it on your skin, it'll smell different than on a white man's skin. You know, what I learned in traveling overseas is that what somebody said, as Black men, we truly are seen, and I don't want to use the word the prize, but we truly are seen as valuable. You know, one of the brothers said it on the trip that we just came back from Brazil, is that the only time we're Americans is when we leave America.
Right.
When we're in America, we're Black Americans, we're Afro-Americans, but when we're overseas, they recognize us as Americans. And I think as our Guapo's wife said, that we are appreciated. And we have to be good servants, and we have to be good ambassadors. You know, when we go overseas, it can't be about the B's and the H's and the bad behavior, because we have to be good ambassadors. And that's what I learned. And I think that many women from overseas are attracted to us when they see us as good ambassadors.
Excellent. You know, Eric, you know, most women consider you handsome. I think you touched upon it a little bit earlier. But when you get your next wife, what have you seen in a Brazilian and women abroad? I mean, you traveled to Thailand. I want you to talk about the experiences of how Thai women actually look at American black men. But when you get married again, what qualities are you looking for in your wife that can actually bring you peace? What are you looking for as it relates to peace in your next wife, Eric? And how do Thai women treat black men in the confines of that country?
Well, hold up. First off, I don't have first wife, so I've never been married.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I meant to say first wife.
When you said next wife, like I got first wife.
Yeah, but first wife. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
I mean,
Right.
It's very, for me, I think I break it down very simplistically.
Right.
You know, you got to have the 5 F's. You got to be feminine, fit. You got to be able to cook food.
Right.
Be friendly. And be fornicating. Ain't gonna be holding it hostage. When I'm ready to beat the brakes off, let's go. All right. You know,
right.
And it really is that simple, because that encompasses everything, you know, and they're not used to seeing black men in mass. Right. So for them, it's like we just stepped out of a television, you know. And Thailand, it's even more so. If you think that you have a huge following and admiration in Brazil, you go to Thailand and you'll be blown away.
Right.
Really. And brothers, they've been going to Thailand, but like I said, it's a different experience when you travel in groups of 10 or more. And when BMO rolls up, it's like, who are these guys? Right. Because they tell us we're not used to seeing African-American men travel in packs. So their response to us is overwhelming. I mean, we were in Thailand and we were attending a Muay Thai fight, and we wanted to take a group picture outside of the stadium. So we gathered together, and there were some Chinese tourists there. And one lady, she just couldn't help herself. She just wanted to run up and take a picture with us. So we told her, well, hold up. Let us take the group picture first. Then we'll allow you to come in and take a picture with us. So once we did that, I kid you not, all of them rushed us. From the time we got finished taking pictures outside, almost to the time that we were seated. They wanted to take pictures with you. They wanted to talk to you, whatnot. And it's just, for African-American men, it's a bit overwhelming.
Right.
You know, it is. And the funny thing is, you know that we are celebrated and appreciated when you have Africans trying to perpetrate themselves off as being American. I mean,
right.
In Thailand and in Brazil, you know, I've heard it plenty of times. You know, you have African guys that try to pass themselves off as African-American. So it's something unique to us versus just being having the same complexion, you know. And guys in the United States just are not used to that.
They're not used to it, right?
We're torn down, and when you go someplace else, you're celebrated. And they tell you, oh, they just want you because you're American and you got your money. But you know, as all the guys here on the panel saw, when we were in the club, you know, you got guys that had a multi-millionaire. He's sending us bottles. He spent 20 G's on us,
right?
And it's still in contact with a couple of members in the group. So what is that about? That is about because they have admiration for you and they want to be around you. You're curious. And a lot of black men suffer from that. Yeah, they suffer from it because we don't get it here. And when you get it overseas, it can be overwhelming.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. Corey, to parrot what Brother Spencer was talking about, how did you suffer in silence? And what did you find to be alluring when you went on the sands of Brazil? And Ken, you've been quiet. I want you to come in and parrot the discussion as well. So how did you suffer in silence, Corey? You know, you're well established. You are an anesthesiologist. You're a doctor. How did Corey Henderson suffer in silence as it relates to dating in America? Are you there? Hello? Corey, Ken, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so Ken, I think Corey, I don't know what happened to Corey. He must have went to sleep, but Ken, let's talk about how did Ken Hiawatha suffer in silence? And so on this last trip, I interviewed you about the beauty of Brazilian women and how feminine they are. How did you suffer in silence living in Alabama? And how are the women in Alabama in comparison to the women from Brazil based on what you've seen?
Well, I would say it's me suffering silence here stateside. It had a lot to do with my profession. Like I said, I'm a photographer, so a lot of times I'm meeting all different kinds of women. But at the same time, you know, I guess you could say I'm like a starving artist. I'm trying to catch my break. And up until that time, you catch your break, you know, nobody really checking for you. You know, you got to be the top. You got to be first place. You can't be second. And so with that being said, you know, I'm trying to be victorious just based off just running my own marathon, knowing that once I do catch my big break, it could be zapped if me making the wrong decision with the wrong woman. So that's why I think henceforth I'm very cautious on women stateside, and especially who I deal with here in the state.
So what did you see different, Ken? I mean, I don't know if you addressed the question, but what did you see different in you know, like in the vibrancy of the femininity from Brazilian women based on the American women? How were your energy levels? How was your masculinity risen based on being around feminine women?
Well, I think, you know, that's an interesting question. I think just me being in the presence of Brazil is almost like they could, the Brazilian women, they exploit that masculinity in you. They the moment you get off the plane, it's almost like they could smell it. They see you coming a mile away, and they're drawn to you like a moth to a flame.
And how was that beneficial to you psychologically when you sit in the presence of a feminine Latin woman versus dealing with some of the toxic behaviors in America?
Well, it was very refreshing. I would say that. I would say that much. It was very refreshing.
Right.
You know, I'm still wet behind the ears, being this my first time out of the country. But to experience it firsthand, you know, it was like a movie. You know, like I couldn't, you know, if I told people and then to explain what went on, you know, they wouldn't believe me. You have to experience for yourself.
Some say, Ken, that it's better later. Is that true? Some say it's better for a man as he gets older and later in life. Tell the audience how and why that's true.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, you know, just from experience, you know, you have a lot of late bloomers, is what I call them. I consider myself a late bloomer. I was fortunate enough to just make the right decisions. You know, don't have no kids out of wedlock. I never been married.
Right.
And sometimes you just gotta just be patient and just have a game plan and just stick to it, and you'll have your day.
Powerful. I want to swing it back to you, classy young man. I believe that's Corey. So Corey, unmute yourself, and I want you to share once again. How did you suffer in silences in the past? I mean, you will be considered a god in many countries. You are a doctor, but once again, you live in the confines of LA. It's a very different culture. But how did Corey Henderson suffer in silence, and how has Brazil and traveling been a life-changing experience for you?
Well, to try to compare the two, or contrast, excuse me, in the country that we live in right now in America, it reminds me of that movie, No Country for Old Men. That's how I felt. It felt like, you know, I couldn't present my masculinity in a country that frowns on it in today's society. However, being in Brazil, it didn't heighten my masculinity. It made me wanted to do more than what I was doing here in America, especially with the way the women treat you. They make you want to go and run into a brick.
Right. Are you there?
Seems like he might have dropped off.
He dropped off. All right. So you know, Teddy Pendergrass made the song called "You Inspire Me." I don't know who's the brother to the top. It's one of the avatars of blind. But how was the Brazilian trip beneficial to you? That's the avatar right beside Eric. I don't know who that is. Is that Corey? I don't know who it is. But how was the Brazilian trip inspiring or awe-inspiring to you? I think he dropped off. Let me see if I can get Corey back on. So Horn, you're aware of travel. You're an educated brother. You're a clinician like myself. Why do you think so many Black men suffer in silence, and why is mental health not more or less benefiting Black men, in your opinion?
Well, I think we suffer in silence because we are by the sins of our fathers. Most of us were raised to endure pain. That pain is masculinity, whether it be emotional pain, whether it be physical pain. If you go to the playground today and you see a little boy that falls on the ground and skins his knee up and runs to his daddy and he's crying. Daddy says, "Hey, quit being a little girl and toughen up." The little girl falls off the swing, skins her knee up and runs to her daddy. He picks her up and says it's going to be okay. So I just think we've been taught to suffer in silence, and but we have to unlearn this. When I was a drill sergeant, when privates would show up, and I would always say, "Private, you are going to unlearn everything that you've ever known, right? I need you to," and some substitute superlatives to go along with that. But I think we suffer in silence because it is what we have been taught to do. We suffer in silence. And that's one of the reasons for our dysfunctional behavior. It's one of the reasons for why we oftentimes relate to each other as men, to women in dysfunctional ways, because in silence we suffer. And going to, like, this is my first true group trip. I've been traveling this earth, these trips by myself. And shout out to Brother Eric, to Coach Greaves. Man, I mean, I'm in two fraternities, a military fraternity and a D9 fraternity.
Right.
Even in those, I was just blown away.
Right.
How there was no competition. No man felt like he needed to be in competition with any other man. I think about Big Sexy when he was over there. For those of you who remember Big Sexy, nobody did him. Big Sexy said, "I'm gonna do my thing the way I do my thing." Right. And I remember writing that down. I'm gonna do my thing the way I do my thing. And it's on and popping from there. So I thought.
Well, I think it's very important that we have these conversations. And theologists says, in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. And, there are a lot of frustrated men. Al Green said it perfectly, from frustrated 1, frustrated 2, and on the horizon, frustrated 3. That a lot of men are suffering silence. And I do these shows because I think men need to hear and understand that there are other men just like them that have suffered in silence. And I do these shows to give men a semblance of hope so that they don't continue to have to suffer long term. So, these shows are very important because we need the fraternal order of the brotherhood to compare notes so that men can see that they don't have to suffer in silence and they can get love, joy, and peace outside the United States. Corey, are you back, brother? Are you back, Corey? Corey, come in if you're there, brother. It's a lot of static. Are you back, Corey? So until Corey come on, Spence, you started the movement with BMO back in, I think, 2017, right? Is that true? Yeah. So I want you to tell the audience why world travel is so important, and I want you to tell them about some of the things they need to look for traveling in a foreign country.
Well, I think it gives you traveling gives you a different perspective, because everybody thinks that the United States is the end all be all and it's so great. The United States is great for making money, but we have our problems too. Right. But you don't have anything to compare it to. You think everything is the best here. Right. So when you go to other places and you see how other people live and they're doing just as well as you are or better, then it kind of gives you a bigger outlook on the overall world and your place in it. Like I said, I've been to 28 countries, and it just, at a young age, I was able to see a lot of things that when I came back home, my peers just didn't understand. I couldn't talk to them about that. Right. And it changes you. you know. And I think as you travel later on in life, it does even more so. It gives you more of a perspective, because when I was traveling, it was in the early 90s, so we weren't as connected as we are now. But now, with all the technology and everything going on, you know, it's important for you to travel, because you see that things are different. You can live a better life. You can have a different ideology. You can be respected and stuff. And that when you come back to the States, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to take this subpar abuse. I don't have to take this treatment. And I don't have to suffer alone either, because there are brothers out here that share the same thing. They travel and they're going through the same thing. So, you know, you meet brothers that you never would have met before traveling. So it's just an overall enhancement to things, and it gives you a chance to have a different outlook on your life and life in general.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Corey, are you there, brother? Are you there? Is that Horn? So Ken, back to you. You know, unbeknownst to me, the interview that I did with you did extremely well on my channel. The young lady that you were in picture with, what did you like about this woman? She came up to you, she started speaking to you. You got a lot of publicity on Facebook, because so many people started saying you guys were a beautiful couple. But what was it about this woman that you felt to be very alluring?
I think it was just the natural presence, her natural aura, you know, natural curly hair, you know. Yeah, I don't even think she had any makeup on when I met her. No eyelashes, you know, no fake contacts. It was just all natural, man.
And so, you know, there was a lot of consternation here recently about the bonnet brigade. And, you know, Monique, you know, was more or less trying to give young women corrections about wearing bonnets, but she got a lot of negative feedback from it. You know, you live in Alabama. How does that bonnet issue more or less cause you distress as a man? You know, I think you and Horn both live in Alabama. And so seeing women in bonnets, I want you guys to tell the audience, does that raise your masculinity and your testosterone levels, or does it frustrate you?
Hey, Horn, I'll let you go on that one.
Okay, well, it's funny y'all would mention this bonnet brigade stuff.
Right.
Being that I'm not a big social media guy, and I kid you not, when I got back to Miami, I saw a young lady with the pink bonnet on and the bunny tennis shoes. Just the other day, I'm at Home Depot. I see a woman walk. I hadn't even paid attention to this, but it brought back to something that my dad. I didn't have any sisters growing up, but my dad would tell our cousins that a ponytail is a lazy woman's hairstyle. So I will have to say that not this whole bonnet brigade stuff. It blew my mind when I also think we might have to look at this. Maybe some of these women are doing this in protest. I just never noticed, but now I'm seeing women wearing this. But I will say this, being in Brazil or Colombia or DR, most times when you see women out, they have a certain amount of respect for themselves. Ken brought it up. Most of the women that I've met in Latin American countries, I've never seen them with makeup on, and they don't need it. But I just think that it's about, self-respect. If you leave your house dressed in your sleep attire, then what do you expect? You don't show up at your job like that, I hope. So I guess my thought with it, and living here, and I'm not from Alabama. I retired in Columbus, and I live on the Alabama side. Columbus, Georgia, live on the Alabama side. But being here in the South, I have to say, one thing that traveling overseas has really enlightened me on, and I don't mean this in a bad way, the laziness, the lackadaisical attitude of many of our women in their overall appearance, with the exception of if they at the club, or maybe at the church. Outside of that, the lackadaisical attitude of many of our women is just simply undesirable. After you spend so much time away, seeing what natural raw beauty looks like.
Yes, sir. Right. And I tell people, man, I did it from a clinical perspective, because there's science behind a feminine woman and raising a man's testosterone levels. There have been studies, guys, that say that men in marriages live longer. Then that's a misnomer. I would say that men in happy marriages live longer if they have feminine women that actually raise their psyche and give them peace. But when a man is in a negative relationship, and according to the scripture, it said that a quarrelsome and a contentious woman will run a man on to the rooftop. And so I did this show to more or less highlight, can a woman be his peace, which is his helpmate and his real, but also can she be his peace? I want to ask Eric Spencer a question as we are about to sign off in a few minutes. Is Eric Spencer divesting from America? And is there hope for the Black community? And then I'm going to ask you, and Cohen, I want you to answer the same question also, Ken. So is Eric Spencer divesting, and is there hope for the Black community? And I want you guys to parrot the same question.
So for Eric Spencer, yes, I'm gone. It's a wrap for me because, you know, I've just, my personal journey through all this, you know, was very traumatic.
Right.
And, you know, I went through the process of getting healing and whatnot, you know, and to me, you know, like it was said before, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze to me anymore.
Right.
You know, it just isn't. You know, I don't have any ill will or any animosity. You know, I wish you the best in your endeavors, but we are no longer a monolith. If anything has happened in the last year or so, it has been abundantly clear that the Black community is splintered.
Yes.
And, you know, there's a YouTuber up here by the name of Mumia Sin Ali. He's talked about it. The biggest problem with the Black community is Black men and Black women don't get along.
I agree.
And you can't have community without unity, and you can't have unity without families. And when you have women that don't want to be wives, then there is no real hope. And that's not to be pessimistic. That's a very realistic assessment.
Yes, sir.
Stats have already proven out.
Right.
You know, we have less marriages and we don't have any community.
Right.
The men can't be leaders because the women don't want to relinquish control.
Yes.
Because of whatever they have been told.
Right. So, I totally agree. Right.
And brothers are not going to continue to fight because we've been enlightened. We're just going to walk away.
Right.
Now, can a community be come from the ashes? Yeah. But for you to build a community, you have to have quality material.
Right.
And right now, we just don't have it. I'm sorry. We just don't have it. And there's nothing in the near future that says we're going to have it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So as far as the Black community in America, I think that you're going to see a huge decline. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of people that are clinging to old traditions. They're not going to make it. Now, the ones that are able to adapt and change, things will change. You know, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you're pessimistic. You don't know what you're talking about. Sweetheart, we got 50 years of stats now.
Right.
You have these huge essence events where you don't promote Black family. You promote Black girl magic, Black girl rock.
Yes. Right.
And your sons, they're no place to be found. And the men are no place to be found.
Right.
So you think you're going to build with a woman that's been programmed to compete against you? It's not going to work. And men are walking, and men are realizing that the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Right. And that we're going to continue to build someplace else. We're going to continue to build our own happiness.
Right.
You know, me personally, I'm looking for a wife in Brazil, and I've made that abundantly clear. My wife is going to come from Brazil. Oh, you know, unless I just happen to meet somebody else overseas. But me personally, I just prefer Brazil because of all the things that I want that I can get. And, you know, I don't have any ill will, like I said before, but brothers are waking up and they're not going to come on your show. They're not going to go out here and raise sand and throw up a flag and whatnot and go on talk shows. Brothers are going to come to BMO. They're going to go on a group trip. They're going to come back and say, you know what? I can live a better life someplace else. They're going to sell all their stuff and they're going to move overseas. And that's happening a lot more often than being advertised.
Right. No, I agree. And it's unfortunate because when you hear men like you know, you got the Terrence Horns, the Ken Hiawatha's, you got the classy young man, my man Corey Henderson. They want American women. They want good wives. But the incessant narcissism, the incessant entitlement, the incessant lack of cooperation, God's saying, you know what? Give me liberty or give me death. Now, to you, Ken Hiawatha. Is Ken Hiawatha divesting? And is there hope for the Black community in America based on what you've seen?
I'm divesting. You know, it just, I can't, it's tough, man. It's really tough after experience all this for myself. And it's just, I feel like me doing what I'm doing, each one teach one. And I feel like if I can reach another Black male that's in a similar situation, same perspective, I'm doing myself a service for the Black community.
Right.
Inform Black men that they do have options.
Right. Right. BMO. A lot of men got options, man. Like I said, this has been a life-changing experience. You know, as a clinical therapist, I went on that trip to take notes because I tried to share this with some of my sisters in private, but they didn't believe me. They thought, oh, you're just one person. You're just a randomized sample. You know, and I said, no, I'm doing this. This trip is an experiment. First of all, to be in the movie with Al Grease, but to let women hear what other men are thinking. I know you guys are a small sample size population, but there are a lot of men that think like Eric Spencer. There are a lot of men that think like Mr. Horn and Ken Hiawatha and the classic young man Corey Henderson. But in lieu of that, I want to shout out to my lovely friend Gail Lockett. She is an awesome woman. She's phenomenal, and you know, I don't know if Gail is single or not, but you know, she might make some brothers a good wife. But she's a beautiful person. I love her soul. I love her spirit. And Gail, thank you, dear. Thank you for coming in on the show. You are a value asset to me and the brothers in the brotherhood. And thank you. So I love you and respect you for everything you're trying to do. So back to what you were saying, Ken. Why are you divesting, and why do you feel like there's no hope for the Black community based on what you've seen?
I mean, it's evident. It's not any hope. I mean, no accountability has been held towards the Black woman, and you know, everybody's still pointing the finger at the Black man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just to a point where the Black men need to save themselves while they can.
I totally agree. Black man options, man. You know, for so many years, for the last 50 years, Black men were told that they won't ish. You know, I don't want no scrub. A scrub can't get no love from me. And so a lot of guys say, okay, fine. You know, I'm a scrub. I'm nothing. And so I'm going to do me now. So a lot of Black men now are having their waiting to exhale moment. They're leaving the confines of America. They are divesting, or they're saying, I'm going to stay single. You know, you have movements like Minto, men going their own way, and Save Yourself Black Man. And then also the better one, Black male options. And so a lot of men just don't care anymore. And it's sad because many Black men want to get married and have wives, but you can't have a family without cooperation. So, Corey,
yes, sir.
Doctor, I want you to tell the audience, is there hope for the Black community, and are you divesting?
No, there is no hope, and I am definitely divesting. I'm planning on, after retirement, moving to Rio de Janeiro or Batijuca and retire and die in Brazil.
Right. Oh, wow. Are you serious?
Absolutely, 1,000%. Because here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Eric said earlier, there's no monolith. It seems like the only time we come close to a monolith is when somebody dies and when we're marching in the street or voting Democrat.
Right.
For the most part, but at the same time, you can't save a community when the other party does not want to communicate or cooperate.
Right.
So, ladies, I got to tell you, BMO is going to get stronger. You have to take time out to think about the stats. 51% of Black men in America are childless.
Yes.
64% of us are working middle class.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers are going to shrink for you, because I saw a show that Dr. Tiesan Johnson did. He said there's other races of women in America as we speak that are going to school and college to learn how to marry a Black man.
Right.
Y'all might want to get y'all stuff together, because right now it's looking very bleak. And not to mention, to add on else, what I wanted to say was I talked to a sister. Oh, she's raising her child, her girl child, to be strong and independent and learn how to go to college education while she's teaching her son to be nice. I'm like, you just teaching your son how to date outside his race.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. Ladies, if you don't get it together, you are going to lose your men, and you are going to be the only group of women in America without men. Think
Right.
about it.
Right. And I think this latest pandemic shows a lot of women how vulnerable that they could be without having the love and the guidance of a man. You know, as I said earlier, being a pygmy actually is a good thing. A woman should strive to be the wife of a man, to love him and to honor him. And that dirty word that we used to say years ago, obey him. Because you got to have obedience and cooperation in order to have a good relationship. And what women don't understand, guys, and I want you guys to parrot this, when a woman serves her man in the beauty of righteousness, that man will die for her. He doesn't mind going to war for her. He'll put his life on the line for her. She's a good man. Do you guys co-sign with that?
Yes, sir.
Do y'all co-sign?
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Right. So, Horn, is there hope for the Black community? Are you divesting?
Well, I would tell you, brother, in a short sense, absolutely. There's always going to be hope for the Black community. Always. You know, I participated in the last greatest protest that we had in this nation, which was the 57th year anniversary of the March on Washington last year. And there is always hope. Always. They want us to believe, and they want us, if we all move away, then there is no hope.
Right.
You know, but as far as divesting, no, I'm gonna always be a part of this. Now, my dating habits have changed, my desire for the type of wife has changed, but as far as the Black community, there's always hope, and I will always be a part of it. You know, whether I live overseas, live abroad, or live in the neighborhood, because we can't, in the sense of the word, the definition of divesting, we can't divest simply by the color of our skin, because no matter where we go, we always show up. We just can't.
Well, I respect that, Horn, and I see what the other guys are saying. I think what guys are saying is that, you know, Eric made an excellent point. We've seen the evidence. We've seen the lack of cooperation. When you have the elders like Monique and Iyanla Van Zant trying to give comprehensive feedback. And listen, we're not saying it's all. There's some good sisters out there. They're the silent minority. It might be the silent majority. But when they speak up, they're called pygmies. They're called whatever. They're shamed. I personally, you know, and I've been married for 25 years, but if I was a single man again, I wouldn't deal with American women either. And I'm just being honest. I don't see the benefit. I probably would stay single or just travel abroad. But the majority, for what I want in a woman, is traditional, feminine, fit, kind, cooperative, and willing to follow our program. It's too much of a headache, man. And so I'm glad that you're optimistic. But I'm like Eric, I'm a realist. I don't see any upward trends. Actually, I see a lot of combative women. And then, you know, sadly, there's a percentage of them that are what I call chameleons. They put on a good mask like they're really down for the cause. But until the laws change in America, until we see consistent cooperation, I don't see it changing, Horn. And I'm not trying to be negative, but I don't see it changing. That's just my estimation.
I respect that.
Right. So, guys, we're about to sign off in a few minutes. It's about 50 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. What did you guys get from the show? And how was this show beneficial as it relates to empowering Black men? Starting with you, Eric.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's beneficial. It's good to have these talks because a lot of men, Black men, they want to have these talks, but they don't have anybody to have them with. Right. So they are in silence.
Right.
You know, and the thing about this is you get exposure to brothers, average brothers. We're not YouTubers. We're not, you know, media moguls or anything like that. We're just, you know, guys that are behind the scenes that are moving in silence and doing things and comparing notes and then making our own decisions. This just brings a small sample of what's really going on to light. And you'd be surprised. There are a whole lot more men that think like this, single and married.
Right.
But because of the jobs they have, or because of the perception they have to keep, you know, they're quiet about it.
Right.
But now more brothers are speaking out because of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, brothers are tired. They're tired of it. They're tired of hearing about You ain't this, you ain't that. You got to do this, you got to do that. Like you said, the 80s, they were filled with all that stuff. Men don't do this, no scrubs, you know, blah 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 blah. Can you pay my bills? Okay, and men suffered in silence from that. And now men are saying, okay, you want me to pay your bills, then you got to be height, weight, and dress size. And now there's a problem with that. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. You know, you want me to pay your bills? Well, I need height, weight, and dress size. And brothers are starting to push back. And this is just another avenue that you're going to see. You know, I'm just going to say this real quick. The crazy thing about everything that's going on now is it's not just one event. It's like you breaking pool balls with the cue. Somebody shoots, and then the balls are going everywhere. You have brothers that are just choosing to date out within America. You have brothers that are choosing not to deal with women at all. You have brothers that, like us, with BMO, Black Man's Option, we're out exploring other options outside the state. So it's not just one major event. It's death by a million cuts. And you're starting to see the effects of it. And it's been happening for a long time. Now it's just starting to get notoriety because brothers have been traveling and comparing notes. But now you're starting to see, oh, this really is happening. Brothers really are traveling. Brothers are really moving in packs of 25 and 35 and getting admiration from feminine, fit, beautiful women that want to be wives. So all this stuff is just a culmination of things that have been happening. And, you know, shows like this, they just continue to promote that. And at this point, there's nothing that can really be stopped. We've been silenced for so long. And like I said, brothers are tired of getting kicked for being a good dude, for being the prototypical father and can't be the leader because there's something wrong with you. You know, toxic masculinity. That's a bunch of BS as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, sir.
So
I totally agree.
Salute you for doing this. And like I said, man, you know, it's BMO, baby. You can't be stopped.
No doubt, no doubt. Brother Jean Pierre is gonna come in a minute. He's actually have a Facebook, YouTube channel where he actually lives in Brazil. So he's gonna come on for a few minutes. But Ken, what have you got from this discussion, and how was it beneficial to you?
Oh man, the dialogue, it was great. I just have to leave with one thing, and it's from the good book. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Yes, sir.
And the key word is find. So if you're not out there traveling and you know, visiting places, you know no Brazilian woman ain't finna come to America and find you. You got to be in Brazil to find these women and what you're looking for.
No doubt. So, respect.
Yeah, I just leave it with that.
All right, Tom Horn, Mr. Horn. What have you gathered from this discussion? And Brother Jean Pierre is gonna come in a minute and dispel some myths. But what have you got from this discussion, and how has it been beneficial to your psyche as a clinical therapist like myself?
Well, I think for me, it's the same thing that I advocate no matter where I go, is that we as Black men, we don't have the opportunity oftentimes to come together and talk like this. And for me, it's why I'm a member of two fraternities, because I've always looked for the brotherhood while I spent 24 years in the military. We don't have the opportunity to. So when it's forums like this feeds the soul in so many ways, because it allows us as with differing opinions. We have differing opinions, different perspectives, but look at the respect. How we respect one another's opinion, how we respect one another's perspective. So for me, just an opportunity just to sit in, man, it just, again, it affirms for me that as men of color, we cannot be divided, that we're stronger in unison. It's like Brother Eric says, you know, when he says BMO for life, and BMO is a brotherhood. And there's brotherhoods in so many different things. So for me, a forum like this, man, again, it's just, I love hearing positive brothers, man. And for me, this has just been, it's been amazing for me.
Right. Corey Henderson, the great physician. How's this show been beneficial to you? And how's it been, you know, inspiring as it relates to the dynamics and relationships with Black men and Black women in America?
Well, as for me, I can say the brotherhood of BMO is what was amazing for me, and what we're speaking is no longer barbershop talk. Now it's out in the open, and it's expanding, and
It is.
we're hoping that the sisters are paying attention and starting to listen instead of actually, you know, interrupting what the brothers are trying to tell them. Maybe they may open up and be more ready to have the discussion on how we can fix our problems here in America. However, more than anything, though, I just like to thank Eric for inviting me on the trip. I like to thank Gerald, Ralphie, brother Al Grease, Coach Al Grease, and more than importantly, Charles Tyler for creating the BMO group. And I'm just glad to be a part of you gentlemen's group. I appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt. We got special guest Dennis Jean-Pierre. He's from Chicago. Brother Dennis, I want you to come in and chop up some game with us for a few minutes, and we're gonna sign off. But you know, you live in Brazil, and you've oh, you don't?
No, I don't live in Brazil just yet. I visit.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So let's talk about the experience. You know, there's so many myths about it, Brazil. Some say, oh, they just want you for money. You know, black men in America are lames that go to Brazil. But, you know, you are an expert because you traveled there more than many men have. What's been your experience about living in Brazil, the culture, the women? And when did you have your coming to Jesus moment where you got tired of the relationships in modern America?
Well, it started for me back in like 2013.
Yes, sir.
I got, like a lot of men, I got frustrated with the dating scene here in America.
Yes, sir.
Because I had all the stereotypical qualities that a lot of women say that they want, but I wasn't getting the consistent results. So I said, okay, something's wrong. So I said, let me try a different ballpark and see if I can get a different result. And boy, did I get a different result. But it's been life changing. It's been life changing to say the least. I'm glad I was able to make the trip, and it's expanded my horizons beyond anything that I can imagine. As a matter of fact, I have more friends in Brazil than I got in the United States.
Wow.
And it's not just the women, and I've said this many times before. It's not just the women; it's the whole package. The weather, the food, the culture, the energy. I mean, it's the total package. Also, your money goes further. It's the total package. So I always get excited when brothers go down there for the very first time because I know what they're in for. I know what their reaction is going to be. They're going to be calling you. They're going to be calling me saying, hey, man, listen, yo, man, you been man, I had a hell of a time. See, it's a totally life-changing experience.
You know, Brother Dennis, you know, when you compare, you know, women of Brazil compared to American women, what was the biggest thing that shocked you as it relates to femininity and also overall attitude?
I find, of course, we all know there's great American women, right? But I found they're few and far between. They're too few and too far between. I find Brazilian women to be more feminine, more. They don't have the hang-ups about sex that a lot of American women have. They're a breath of fresh air to deal with. They're a breath of fresh air to deal with. Of course, you know, people are going to say, oh, they just want you for your money. Most women want you for your money. Most women, most women are mercenary. The only difference is with a lot of Brazilian women, I'm generalizing here, but Brazilian women give you more value for your money.
Boom. There you go. Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not just about take and not giving anything.
Right.
If you find a good Brazilian woman, you'll have a loyal companion for the rest of your life. And also, one more thing.
Yes, sir, Dennis. Go ahead, brother.
If a Brazilian woman likes you, you're going to know it. You're going to know it. There's no guesswork. There's no deciphering. They make it plain as day. But at the same time, if they don't like you, you're going to know that too. So it makes it a lot easier.
So how would you know? How would you know based on your experience?
The biggest thing is eye contact. Eye contact, a smile, just simple stuff. Nothing complicated.
Okay. Is there a crisis in America, Brother Dennis Jean-Pierre? And is there hope for the black community, in your opinion? And are you divested?
Is there a crisis with regard to?
As it relates to cooperation, as it relates to black relationships, as it relates to entitlement, as it relates to negative attitudes, are you divesting or are you going to stay in the confines of America and bring forth change?
No, I'm not going to stay within the confines. I've been converted, and I'm never going back. Never going back. I don't even date here, man. I don't even date in the United States unless something falls in my lap. Unless the table is set, I won't eat.
Right.
So yeah, I'm done here, and I think it is at a crisis point here in America, because it seems like the average man has to work harder for access to attractive women and sex. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's across the board. It's not just black men. It's American men. Period. White
American men. Period. Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes, sir. Right. So, right.
You can't say this publicly though. You'll get shamed for it by the mainstream, so to speak. But it's the truth. The average man has to work harder, because the average man has to because women have the feminist movement and the media to back them up, and the judicial system to back them up. They have a little bit more leverage.
Right. And Brother Dennis, I've done this as a clinical professional because a lot of times, even within the context of clinical therapy, a lot of men feel like they are in silence. Many times the practitioners look at things from a feminist perspective. And so as a black male therapist, which is rare, I'm taking a risk doing these shows. It's a risk for me because I'm going against the grain, but I do it all for the brotherhood. I'm not saying anything wrong. It might not be PC, but these men need to speak, and we need to hear what these men are saying, because I've said it earlier in the show that a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is a hopeless man, and a hopeless man is a dangerous man. And we've seen what happens to men when they're suffering in silence, and the frustration turns over into violence. We got the snake whisperer in the house, but before Gene pop in for a minute, we're gonna sign off in a minute. Brother Dennis, were you ever married when you were in America, and how was your relationships in America compared to the Brazilian relationships?
Was I ever married in America?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm never married. I'm never married. I've had some good women in America, but like I said, there are few and far between.
Right.
Few and far between. And to be frank with you, I feel bad for a lot of these young cats coming up now trying to date, because
it's rough.
It's rough out there.
I totally agree.
I just got through speaking with a 21-year-old kid. He just touched down in Rio yesterday. And I said, brother, you lucky. You are very fortunate, because I wish I had discovered Brazil when I was 21 years old.
Right.
So more brothers are starting to wake up, man. The trend is building. The momentum is building.
And the misnomer is that it's not that black men don't want black women in America. They want good women here. But like you said, you got to jump through so many hoops. When I hear foolishness where women denigrate blue collar men, we had a blue collar guy on the show, but you got women that don't really meet what men call their expectations, but they can have kids, they can have had a lot of fun, what we call ran through. They can have bad credit, but yet they have these extraneous demands on men. And so it's almost like a man got to be damn near perfect just to get a decent woman. And then even then, that's not enough. And I told Al in the movie, I said, if Jesus came himself, some of them wouldn't even want to marry Jesus. They would call him broken dusty, because he got on sandals and he was a carpenter. And it's really a travesty of justice that men can't even get decent women in America, because so many are so entitled, and we have the SEP culture. Brother Gene Davis, what I call the snake whisperer, or the conscious crab, and we're going to sign off in a few minutes. What's wrong with dating relationships in America? And is there hope? And are you divesting?
Well, man, what's wrong? Everything's wrong with dating in America. It's backwards. Women are completely unrealistic, as we all know. They want things that they can't bring to the table. You even have women now with kids saying that they don't want to date men with kids. Then you have within our community, you have the swirlers and the divestors, and a lot of people, I think, don't understand really what a swirler is. It's not just a person who dates interracially. It's a person who dates because they think that white people are better. They date outside their race because they think that their white people are better. And they have an entire movement that now spans every aspect of social media, where they're literally begging white men to date them. So at the same time, these same women have, these unbelievable standards for black men. I actually watched a show tonight. I'm going to send it to you, bro. I watched the show earlier today with this woman, Jessica X, and she was basically talking about how if you look at the black women, the white men that black women are dating, these divestors and these swirlers, they're on average, and she's going to do a show tomorrow backing this up with statistics. On average, they're dating white men who make less money, who have less education, who are less attractive than the black men that they reject. And I heard a guy on this show who was making $12,000 a year, a white guy, and he was in his 40s, and he was running through black women, some of them as young as 25 years old. So here's a guy making $12,000. The average black man makes $40,000 a year, and black women don't want him.
Right.
This white dude is making $12,000 a year, and he's running through black women.
Right.
You know, and you know, we've had this conversation. I've noticed that for a long time. It's like all the things that we're talking about. Yeah, we're saying that these problems are across the board, but we're subject to a level of standards by black women that no other man is subject to. Like you said, Jesus came, they would reject him because he wore sandals. They would call him a dusty.
Right.
He'd be a dusty, you know. So I can't say like I'm divested, but I'm not invested. You know, I'm not. You know, right now I'm not really dating at all. But I don't see a reason to date here. Right. I don't see a reason to get in a relationship here unless you find that unicorn that is somehow different. But they're all, you know, drinking from the same cup, man.
Right. Well, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, we're going to sign off in a few minutes. It's about 8 minutes after the hour, 12 o'clock. But I think Brother Ron Neal felt that juice when he went to Brazil. And we're going to do a little short clip real quick. So first of all, I want to thank Brother Eric Spencer. Once again, phenomenal brother. You know, he's almost like a magnet. I call him a robot because, you know, every time I need him, he was right there. So salute to that brother. You know, when you get married in Brazil, when you get married, man, invite me, man. I'm going to come down there and fly first class, man. I'm going to fly first class because I'm 6'5", man. And that plane killed. I didn't get no rest coming back. And shout out to my man, Ken Hiawatha. You know, I call him, you know, the Eric Benet of Brazil. You know, he had that fine chick. She was doing the samba with him. And Corey, your day is coming, brother. So salute to you. And like I said, it's about 9 minutes after hour, 12 o'clock. We're gonna play this short clip with Brother Ron Neal, Dr. Ron Neal, a purveyor of BMO and also black male independence. And I think Brother Neal gonna tell you why a lot of men are divesting. So y'all check this out, and we're gonna sign off. And once again, thank you for the lovely Danielle. She's awesome. I love this sister. And if some of you guys are single, you know, go in them DMs. You know, I don't know if Danielle is single or not, but she's an awesome woman. All right, so I love you, Danielle. And so listen to this, my brother Ron Neal, guys, and please donate to Seven Smalls. I want 1,000 subscribers by the end of June, man. So I need you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Send my channel to 20 other men and tell those 20 men to support the channel, because what you don't understand, what I'm doing is very risky, but what you're getting is something rare. You don't get a licensed clinical therapist that's actually talking to black men within the confines or outside the confines of liberal politics. So listen to Brother Ron Neal. He's a professor out of Wake Forest. We're in the Tar Heel State, the greatest state in the union. And so y'all check this out.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, let's kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say